Good evening and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Jim Mountain Palmer, joined by Michael Fish Fisher, and tonight we have got some Overwatch matches to stream for you, starting off with a match versus CU Boulder. Fish, what can you tell us about this general match? I understand we're going to be starting out with a first to two match, or someone could say, well, not necessarily a best 2 out of 3 because there are ties. So first to two match, so kind of a smaller match to start us out with. What can you tell us just about hero pools and bans and overall stuff like that as we head into this first one?
Well, this is part of our Friday Collegiate Clash we've been putting on here for a couple weeks at Boise State. The bans, I believe, mirroring the bans from last week in competitive. They are Sombra and Reaper on the DPS, Diva and Anna being taken away as well. As you can see there, Boise State taking on CU Boulder. You can see the bracket there right in front of you. If my memory serves, CU Boulder might have advanced at least to the second round 1 or 2 times, but this should be a very good match. I'm excited to see if Boise State can reverse the trend they've had the last couple weeks, Jim Mountain, and get out of the first round.
Yeah, this is definitely a very competitive pool here. If you're just looking at all the different teams that are on the bracket, Utah and UNLV definitely speak for themselves. But against a lot of these teams, Boise State has struggled in this in this UMG collegiate series, so maybe this can be something that they turn around. I did like that retro logo from Boise State there. That was a nice touch there, but who knows? Being retro isn't necessarily going to provide Boise State a ticket out of this. What do you think has been the biggest thing that they've really struggled with over the past weeks in this general tournament they found themselves in?
I think some of it's been adapting to some of the bans, since that is sort of the newer things we're coming in here with Overwatch. Of course, from the competitive scene, just in comp games, all the way up to Overwatch League, those bans do change things up a little bit there. And then it is a standard map pool. There isn't any choices. So, with Boise State, we've talked about it on, hybrid maps. They don't practice Kings Row because they think they can pull one off on teams and not pick Kings Row, because a lot of teams pick Kings Row. But when it's a predetermined map, you know what's coming, but you might not have put as much practice in because you're used to the other formats we play in. That is the one thing when you have this tournament. It's not the same as NACE. It's not the same as Tespus, where it's different maps, and this one is predetermined all in advance. So that is going to be what I've seen, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the hero bans, especially the Diva, how that affects teams, because it takes away that dive. It takes away someone who can pressure snipers on some maps, who can really get in the face of a Widowmaker. So seeing how Boise State adjusts to that, we saw a lot of Zarya yesterday in our tournament that had these same bans. I'll be curious to see if we're going to see a lot of Ryan Zarya today as well.
Yeah, it will be interesting, as you were saying about the rules being different than, say, something like NACE or TESPA. You can see here on the screen, 3-round single elimination. Because we are in the first round, it will be first to 2, as I was saying earlier. If Boise State does move on to the second or third round, it will be first to 3. And the biggest difference is the fact that we don't have loser picks the next map. And that has been a very key part of strategy. If Boise State had gotten off to a good start, that has been something they can use to reverse their fortune. As you can see here, it looks like Boise State is going to be using a Rhino Arista comp as they head on to the point for the first engagement here, trending some blows. They're going to fall into the middle hole right there. Food is going to be the first elimination. Modern Frost is going to answer that back by taking out Boulder's Baptiste. But unfortunately for Boise State, this McCree is doing some great work, taking out Asu and CBMX, not allowing that first engagement to go the way Boise State wanted.
No, that was a really good halt by Blano there on the side of CU Boulder, pulling 3 members of Boise State down and really just preventing them to be part of that fight. They're going to get a great pick, though, onto Blister, maybe getting a little bit too far forward. Modern Frost on that Doomfist can be used to punish it on the back line there. You see Boise State, a Maywall going to block off the team, and then their own Maywall comes up and kind of separates it. Immortality field by Asu, though, able to keep the team alive, and now they're able to all be rejoined. We can see in the back line, Modern Frost is there. He will go down to Dusty, who, as you mentioned, Jim Mount, is doing a fantastic job. Both Boise State tanks, once again, going to fall into the hole. It looks like Food's going to join them this time to just try and avoid some damage. Now they'll come around in on the backside with the rest of their members already dead, and unfortunate for Boise State, those 3 members might be a bit late, and it looks like they will fall. We'll see if Brock can get out, but that pit in the middle there, the hole-in-one you've talked about, Jim Mount, proving to be a disaster for the Broncos.
I don't know if it was necessarily a disaster as much as that Maywall was the last time, because that unfortunately kept Boise State split up about double the time than they necessarily needed to be. Boise State, half their team was already on the point when they threw up their own Maywall. That kind of increased the time there, and they weren't able to really gain their composure afterwards. They're going to throw up the application matrix and the shields here. You do see the Sig ultimate being used by Boulder as well as their own application matrix. Luckily for Boise State, they did use the immortality field. The Deadeye is going to be able to get blocked. Modern Frost answers by taking out the enemy Sig. I do hear a rally being used by Lake as well. Boise State wants to stay in this engagement. The CW Boulder throws out their own Blizzard as well, and for all these ultimates, only a trickle of eliminations thus far. Food does get eliminated, and Modern Frost, as the Baptiste for CW Boulder, is able to tilt the match in their favor. Boise State is still almost into it. We still have... Oh, that's a really unfortunate. As soon as the supercharger was placed down, the Maywall went up, preventing any of that damage from going on to the point. And CW Boulder is going to take that first match.
Yeah, those are some fantastic May walls there by the May for CU Boulder, doing an excellent job walling off Boise State. And it is something that I noticed a little bit yesterday with these bans. Doomfist is really great when he can pick off his support. The problem is, with the Ana being banned away, we're seeing a lot more mobile support. We're seeing the Lucio, we're seeing the Baptiste, we might even see a Zenyatta or a Moira come out as well, so it does sort of eliminate the effectiveness of a Doomfist. I would not be shocked if Modern Frost wants to change that, because you can't just punish the Ana, which we're too used to seeing Doomfist do, because Ana is not in the hero pool right now.
Right, definitely. It does necessarily change up a lot of the ways that Boise State has played. It has interfered with their strategies in some point. Just the way that the overall... Because it kind of is a double whammy when you think about it. In terms of, like, for teams that really have their own niche talents, or they have a very set strategy, it's really hitting them from two different angles. One is in the separate rules for this tournament that's determining the maps they can play on. And then in the other ways, the hero pools and the hero bans that have come through from Blizzard. As you can see, we're going to be moving into the second match here, Finn. And State might be off to a better start there. The elimination's going a little bit more back and forth here.
Yeah, Boise State definitely off to a much better start this time, not only picking up a majority of the eliminations, but they have already captured the point and are building up to 20%. Gravitic Flux going to come out from Omega Ruby, but he will go down before the cast completes, so no one's going to go up or down for Boise State. So really just a great job there by the Broncos. They have swapped over from that Batiste to that Moira. The Coalescence is up. Who would be surprised there? So I'll be curious to see if AC wants to use that as soon as the fight starts, because we've seen it before. Moira does a ton of damage for being labeled as a support.
Yeah, she really does, and her ultimate, if you're able to get her ultimate charge up to a sufficient speed, it can become almost like another cooldown with how fast it can charge. So she really provides a lot of great options. So you do see the Sig ultimate is going to be used, as well as the Immortality Field, as the Coalescence used from Boise State, and Guac is unfortunately going to be eliminated, but Boise State is going to be answering back with Modern Frost, Food, and Asu each getting elimination of their own. The Lucio is going to be able to get an environmental kill off of the Brigida, but Modern Frost is still answering back. Finally, that Doomfist is coming through for Boise State, getting 2 eliminations, allowing them to keep the point. And this could be a really short match, Fish.
Yeah, Boise State really doing an excellent job winning that fight as well. The Coalescence coming out, you can see there they have their Blizzard and their Meteor Strike available. It's just the Deadeye available for Dusty, but not to mention my hatred for Deadeye aside, that does open you up to just being absolutely slapped around by the Meteor Strike. Blizzard's going to start the fight, though. Meteor Strike also going to be used. Blister is able to get off this sound barrier to at least keep the members alive, as now both tanks will go down for the Buffaloes. Boise State doing an excellent job. May will follow as well. The Broncos really just being the aggressor here. Finally, the Deadeye is going to come out from Dusty, and it's just going to be way too late as Block's going to get that elimination. Boise State trying to eliminate who they can off the point. I don't think these respawns will be fast enough, and Boise State, as you mentioned, a very quick James Gem mount, dominating that one from start to finish.
Yeah, that was probably one of the fastest games that I've seen just in general, and Boise State has managed to tie this first round up, And now this next one's going to determine who gets the first match point here. I really got to say, with the way that Boise State performed there, I have to say it's like performance-wise, one of the two games that we just saw could be considered a fluke. It was either the first game and Boise State might have just gotten caught off guard with some of those Maywalls and some of the round, and then this was the overall show of the skill in the game that they're ready to bring here. Hopefully it is that. We do see Doc's keys to the game here. Never take a fair fight. Manage your ult economy. Fight where and when you want and prioritize targets. Doc's keys to the game brought to you by Boise State University.
Curious to see here for Boulder going with the Torbjorn. Make sure Boise has to be very aware of where those turrets are. Maywall is going to come down. Unfortunately, Asu is going to be the first one that will be eliminated here. Modern Frost trying to ace down Saifu, unable to get to him, though he will be able to escape. So Boise State is going to lose that first fight while trading back and forth up top there. I think Boise State smartly going to disengage here. Unfortunately, Modern Frost will get caught out. So not as good a start in the last game for Boise State. They are trying to hold on as they jump onto the point to contest it as long as possible. Fortunately, Guap and CBMX will fall, so will Food, so Boise State will have to concede this point. Asu going to go down as well. That is a huge stagger respawn onto Boise State, and Lake as well. The Broncos going to have to wait probably an extra 5 or 10 seconds for both their supports to come back.
Yeah, that really wasn't necessarily a great engagement at all for Boise State. They're going to have to reset. We do see two swaps here. Food is heading on to the Torbjorn, and the Hanzo being picked by Modern Frost. Boise State definitely on their DPSs can be rewarded with kind of these more sniper, long-range based hero choices. So maybe Modern Frost can get a lot of mileage off that. You see Arrow's going to give a little bit more information being shot out there to help Boise State. They head on to the point. Now both teams are going to be trying to snipe around the central building. Modern Frost, like I said, is able to pick off the Lucio. Just a great first elimination for Boise State. Walk taking a lot of damage. There comes through the Coalescence, going to take out Blake for Boise State now. Boise State doesn't have any ultimates to their name, basically because of that first engagement, which really didn't go in their favor. Asu and Walk and now Food are all going to be taken out. The Sigma doing a lot of damage on the point. So Boise State really, as kind of a consequence of that bad first engagement and having to swap off two of their heroes, really didn't have the ult economy to stand up to CW Boulder there. CU Boulder, excuse me.
No, they did not, but the good news for them is they are winning the battle to have the supercharger up first. That, of course, will build up a lot of ultimates. The only problem here for Boise State is you are staring at 3 ultimates up for the Buffaloes and 2 more on the way, and Boise State right now only has 1, so they've got to be very careful, but they can't afford to take one of those stally fights that we've seen in the past where they just kind of burn a bunch of ultimates for the enemy team, because they have maybe 1 fight left in them with the point already up above 87%. Asu can open with the Coalescence, multiple Gravitic Flux, both going to come out on the side of Boulder, and it will take care of Modern Frost. Lake will go down as well. DMX immediately going to use the Gravitic Flux right as he gets it. Not quite enough damage, though, to help out Boise State, and I do believe the Broncos might have to concede this. I don't know if they'll be able to get back in time. DMX actually did a great job holding on for just a little bit. Asu was as well, but Boise State got to get a little bit of taste of their own medicine. Great job by CU Boulder there to go to match point.
Yeah, it really was a thing of that first engagement, but much like the very first match we saw, Boise State just really found themselves unable to stop the momentum that CU Boulder had set up for themselves after that first engagement. Both of them also, I gotta say, it really was that Maywall in the first engagement for the first and third round that really kind of, you can see the quadruple kill there for CU Boulder. Definitely a well-deserved play of the game. But it was kind of that Maywall in the first engagements for both the first and third matches that really just didn't start off Boise State with the momentum that they wanted. And now they're going to have to win this next game or else they are going to be out in the first round.
Yeah, they will have to win the first game there. As you could see, the Collegiate Overwatch Week 4 tournament. Every week we reset it on a Friday, have something to do while we stay here in quarantine in Boise State, trying to break a 3-week drought, trying to advance to the second round for the first time. They're at the bottom of the bracket, taking on CU Boulder. But yeah, I think for Boise State, I think those Maywalls, I agree with you, just need to be a little bit more careful there. And I'm going to be honest, I know we saw a ton of Orisa Sig. I just don't think, especially with some of the nerfs that have come through, if that is the strongest comp anymore. I know Reinhardt's available. I think Zarya might be a great pick, especially if you can combo one damage ultimate with the Graviton. It really just opens you up to win team fights. So I'm going to say I think Boise State, if they want to turn the tide, maybe needs to swap out that tank line, go back to the Reinhardt, who's been a staple in this meta, and then complement it with the Zarya with D.Va taken away.
Yeah, it definitely is a question that Boise State has to ask themselves, but we also saw CU Boulder using much the same comp to their benefits, so it definitely was something that clicked for CU Boulder. You can see here an image of the arena, which is still being left all empty as everyone is following stay-at-home orders and social distancing right now. We do hope someone is dusting, though, in there, because we don't want things getting a little bit too dusty. I don't want to get too depressed knowing how far or how long it's going to be until until we're able to step foot in that arena. So let's not let too thick a layer of dust build up in there.
Yeah, I don't know. The first person in that building may be all excited until they realize that there's 5 inches of dust built up, and not only are they gonna, allergies will hit, but then it's just you're gonna have to spend hours and hours just cleaning everything up. So yeah, hopefully someone's in there dusting. Hopefully we'll be able to be in there soon enough to where the Dust Bunnies don't start creating their own League of Legends accounts and qualifying to play on the Boise State esports team. But I can't wait to get back there. But we're doing our part here. We're staying at home and we're making sure. By doing this, we can still play video games, but hopefully we can get back to our cool arena very, very soon.
Yeah, hopefully we can. But Boise State needs to clean up their performances. We're going to be moving into the next match. And like we were saying, this isn't a situation throughout the last few weeks. We are going to be going into Kings Row, a predetermined map. Something in Boise State, they would like to try something else. Maybe try Numbani or something, or just one of those maps that was such a big part of their strategy to practice kind of these side maps that might not have been chosen as often. But when they did pick them, it caught the other team off guard that they were able to pull out some wins. But Boise State is stuck with Kings Row now.
Yeah, well, and Boise State has had a love-hate relationship with Kings Row. We've seen some epic performances by Boise State, and we have seen some times where they have just sort of been grinded down. So I'll be curious to see how they want to approach it there. So you can see your keys to the game: never take a fair fight, manage the ult economy, press W and fight early, and prioritize those targets. And really, I think the problem in that first match is they just didn't have the ult economy, because 2 of the 3 control maps, they just lost the first fight, and it is sort of becomes that assault style where the team to win the first fight just snowballs so far ahead in terms of ults that you never can catch up. So on a longer map like this, you're going to have the ult economy. We've seen a lot of times teams blow 3, 4, 5 ultimates in that last checkpoint. They win a fight and then just completely collapse. So ult economy is going to be huge on this map.
And it really is a tough point if you're the defending team. It really is a tough point to try to hold. As you can see, CU Boulder is going to be the ones to defend right now, because this first point is so far away from the spawn for the defending team, and it's so near for the attacking team, that really this map can be one of the more snowballing maps. It's so easy once you take the first fight to get to that second checkpoint, and then a lot of the matches we have been seeing have gone to the final factory stage. See, Food is going to be getting the first elimination, being able to take out the May. Boise State off to a great start. Modern Frost is on the Bastion, but we didn't see any Symmetra coming through, so no cheeky Statue of Liberty play for Boise State. We do like to see that, though, coming through when they do use that. Walk is going to be eliminated, and the Coalescence is also being used by CU Boulder. It's going to plow right through members of Boise State, forcing them to all reset. The news for Boise State, though, is that all those eliminations did come through at roughly the same time, so not too staggered a respawn for them.
No, that's just a great job getting that Coalescence up that early. The attack Bastion can be sort of wonky, but Boise State, I thought, did it very well, sneaking around, trying to get a huge flank on. The only problem is there are a lot of shields in the way, especially for Food to try and break through here with the Orisa and the Sig on the side of CU Boulder. Now Boise State going to go very much forward approach, going right around that statue, pushing the Buffaloes off the point. They have to be very careful for the Deadeye, as Food's going to try and scout. He's going to get in on the back line there. See what he can do. Immortality Field's going to come down, though, and that is going to save CU Boulder, and the members of Boise State start to just fall left and right. That is going to be another team kill, and Boise State once again will have to reset.
Of every second that passes, it becomes a lot more significant when you realize that, you know, as I was saying, with the respawns being so far away from any team, it really is just a pick here and a pick there that can more than usual that can determine the whole match. Because once you are picked off, if you're defending on this first point, it really isn't a question of you being able to respawn and get back to the point soon enough to help your team. You do see the Blizzard is being used by CW Boulder in combination with the Coalescence, again, just shredding through Boise State. This might be a situation of the Broncos, though, just trying to get some of these engagements out to bait out ultimates like that from CU Boulder. CU Boulder still has a lot more, as they're going to have basically 4 ultimates now to Boise State's 3. It's getting a little bit more even, Fish, but still, ultimates have been for CW Boulder throughout the whole time.
Yeah, that's going to start with the rally from Lake. That's going to come out from Omega Ruby. The health bars for Boise State going to be nearly cut in half. Modern Frost, the first elimination, but Boise State will pick up a couple of their own. Walking on the back line, trying to build up that shatter. Unfortunately, Lake is going to go down, but so will Saifu. And Boise State finding an edge here, maybe splitting up just enough to allow Guac to run free. And he is going to survive as the members of Boise State respawn. So the Broncos there, a little bit of a separate engagement on both sides. And CU Boulder, they got the first 2 eliminations. It sort of fell apart after that. Great job by Boise State to hold and be able to capture this payload.
Now, something that's going to be very crucial here is determining how fast Boise State can get to this next checkpoint. Because so often on Kings Row, we have seen matches go into overtime where it is a matter of how much the other team has been able to build up their score. See, this Bastion here, which I am interested to see on this kind of attack. They aren't using necessarily a pirate ship. They are just, the Bastion is kind of walking up the street, trying to get the right angle when he can. There goes the supercharger. The Bastion's going to turn into the tank and blow away the McCree as well. Anzo's also going to do some work to shatter as well. It's just going to be used in combination to tear through CW Boulder. And because Blister and Jay used his ultimate, he is going to be staggered. And that is what meant to really try to save CU Boulder. It's actually going to be a huge detriment to them because they are forced now to wait as Boise State just rides into this next checkpoint. So that's really a double win, a win-win for Boise State. Not only do they bait the ultimate out, but the staggered respawn allowed them to just effortlessly coast to the next checkpoint.
Yeah, that was a great job getting to the next checkpoint, but a great contest by the Buffaloes who's going to hold Boise State just a bit short. Dragon Strike is going to come out. Lake will use his rally, and a 4-man Dragon Strike from Food. He'll add a 5th kill on top of that. Can't quite make it 6, but my goodness, what a Dragon Strike by Food, and that just really won that fight for Boise State and gets the payload rolling down to the 3rd point.
Food is red hot on fire right now, and that has to be a play of the game if I ever saw one. Boise State is coming alive in their final push to the final point right now. Asu is going to be using his amplification matrix, and that's going to help him to eliminate the enemy May. Boise State is great with that first pick because the Blizzard also isn't available for May to use right now, and that is such an important ultimate to try to get that first engagement. Another good ultimate is Sig's ultimate, along with the Coalescence. CU Boulder is just going to throw everything they have at Boise State, but it is not working. You see, Guac is using his shatter to help him take out the enemy Sig, and now here comes the Blizzard, but highly delayed, and already when the fight was won for Boise State, things just aren't going CU Boulder's way. And finally, you see, like I was saying, with this map being able to be snowbally as it is, all it took was just Boise State finding in them to get that first point, and then it was smooth sailing from then on out.
Yeah, and it really was a fantastic pick onto the May, prevented our Blizzard from coming out, and then the 4-man Shatter coming out just basically stopped any defense CU Boulder had. So that was a really good job by Boise State to start, maybe not what you wanted. So that's going to be key for them, is holding CU Boulder on that first point, because that would be the difference in overtime. Boise State was not stopped after they started pushing the payload. So depending on how fast the Buffaloes can get the payload unlocked, that's going to be your difference maker if we do go to overtime here.
You know, as much as we do give Kings Row a hard time because it is picked so often and we're just being left to cast the same, what feels like the same matches over and over, you really do have to give it to just the design of the map, and you can see why it is kind of picked, because the design of the map lends itself so well to nail-biting matches. It's just the map is really kind of made to really focus on that final push through the factory that makes games go to overtime so often and makes them so close.
Yeah, that we've seen a ton of crazy 5 minute plus stops on that last checkpoint there. And I will say, I mean, there's a reason Kings Row is always picked. It's a great map. It's been in the game for a while. It's just a well-designed map. So as much as we complain about it, I still enjoy seeing it. And I'm curious to see what Modern Frost wants to do here. He's sneaking up on the back line. Nobody knows he does get stunned, but he's able to use that help. Plus a great immortality feels very aggressive from Boise State, jumping right on the Buffaloes at that first point. I don't know if CU Boulder was ready for that. They're going to get a couple of eliminations, both onto the tanks. That should push them back. And a really great start for Modern Frost, but a huge shout out to Asu. Great use of comms there, realizing my Doomfist is in. He's taking a ton of damage. We're going to have an aggressive immortality field, and that's going to allow Boise State to win the fight.
Yeah, those 200 IQ Twitch emotes, you better be using them right now, chat, because that was an amazing surprise attack from Boise State right there. And now they're taking a little bit more of kind of the traditional state closer to the point. But again, here comes this Doomfist. He is just, you cannot find him. He finally does get stunned by the McCree. That's going to allow them to take him out. Boise State now is going to be using the application matrix from Asu, trying to gain control of this point. There goes the coalescence from CU Boulder right now. The Maywall is also going to come up from CU Boulder. So we're trying to split up Boise State as they are gradually going to be pushed off the point. Dusty is able to eliminate the Reinhardt, followed by the Zara. That's going to be Boise State, unfortunately, only able to hold them for one engagement. CU Boulder taking the point a lot faster than Boise State did.
Yeah, that is the one thing for the Buffaloes there. They're going to have about an extra 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half that Boise State did not have to push to the second checkpoint there. So once again, I like the play by Modern Frost there, but it just feels like this Doomfist maybe hasn't been as effective as we'd like to see from Doomfist. He hasn't gotten a huge pick that really has made this hero something to fear in Overwatch right now. Doomfist is waiting in the back line, leaving his team all alone in a 5v5. He might be going back. Yeah, he's going to try and pick off the person pushing on the payload there. We'll have to see if he can get Blister and Jay. It can be sometimes hard to sneak up on a Lucio. Right now, Boise State doing a very excellent job. They only lost one. Here comes Modern Frost in on the back line there, trying to hop onto Blister J. He will just be able to wall right away, and everyone else is going to retreat for CU Boulder. So that's the one problem. Lucio probably one of the harder supports to try and pick off, but it does allow Boise State to regroup. Lake's going to use the rally, though. Maywall does come down. Gravitic Flux used by Omega Ruby. Boise State should be able to survive. Only Guat going down there. Asu not quite able to get the coalescence up in time. Graviton going to be used there. Inkin here's with the Dragon Strike, and that's going to be another 4-man Dragon Strike. Food cannot be stopped. Unfortunately, he will go down, and that is the power of Azaria. You combine it with one good damage ultimate, and usually can win fights. Unfortunately for the Broncos, 2 members survived and were able to push the payload all the way to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, now Boise State is going to be charging onto that second checkpoint. It looks like CU Boulder was able to get to that second checkpoint. So it looked like they might have just been on it, but no, they are past it. Boise State still managing to hold them. Boise State, in terms of ult economy, doesn't have a lot. They've got Modern Frost and Guac with their ultimates. Asu about to have the coalescence, but CU Boulder is almost fully juiced up with 5 ultimates. Look for a lot of button pressing in this next match. There goes the Meteor Strike. But CU Boulder is going to be using their beat and coalescence to help them survive. Plus, the Bongo is also going to go down from the Orisa. The Shatter was used by Boise State. But hey, when you're faced with a Deadeye, that's not going to do a lot for you. As in correlation with the Coalition, CU Boulder is just tearing through Boise State. The SIG able to get a double elimination, followed by the Orisa taking out Asu. That was really just the thing of those 5 ultimates to 3 really doing their work, and Boise State trying to put up a valiant defense here, but CU Boulder is doing exactly what they need to get to this final point before Boise State did and have more time for overtime. Dusty able to get a double elimination onto Modern Frost and Guac. the May is also able to pick up Boise State's other tank, and it is just a domino effect from there, allowing CU Boulder to get the third point. Now we're going into overtime so many times like we've seen here on Kings Row, but CU Boulder with a very crucial 1 minute 18-second lead in the amount of time that they will have.
Yeah, but Boise State's going to have their work cut out for them. The Broncos only having 2 minutes. CU Boulder going to have 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So Boise State's got to be a lot quicker on that first point, and that was really the difference in the fight. As we talked about there, Boise State took, I think, 2, maybe 3 engagements to take that first checkpoint and really unlock the payload. It only took CU Boulder 2, and that was the difference in that minute and 18 seconds. So Boise State's got to be a lot more efficient. They probably got to win the first, if not the second fight in overtime here. Otherwise, CU Boulder at that extra time might be able to hold on here and go on to the next round.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, go on to the next round. I'm sorry. Go on to the next round in terms of tournament. I thought you meant the next round in terms of this match. And as much as we would like to see a next round from Boise State, that means they would have to win it in overtime here to drive this to a round 3 and an overall tiebreaker for the match. So they got their backs up against the wall. It really is going to come down to these first few engagements on the first point, because this is going to be a game of how much time Boise State can bleed off and maybe get rid of the time advantage that CU Boulder has. But it's all going to depend on these first few engagements on this very crucial first point.
Yeah, I really think for Boise State, they've got to get rid of the Doomfist. He just has not been effective, as you would hope. I think he's costing them because he's not getting those backline picks, which means he's not doing what he needs to be doing, and then he sometimes dies running out there. So they're not going to run it for now. They're going to go back to the May. They have Modern Frost once again on the Hanzo there, actually switching it up. Food was on the Hanzo before, excuse me. Let's see if Modern Frost can emulate him. Right now, the Broncos going to lose 2 key members. Dusty going to go down, but a couple of huge freeze is going to slow down the Buffaloes. Unfortunately, no eliminations to show for it. Without any tanks, Boise State has to be very, very careful. Ace is going to try and use the Coalescence to get around that fact. Immediately as it comes off cooldown, he will get frozen, though, and go down. Modern Frost not quite able to get any picks so far. Boise State losing food as well. The tanks have respawned. They're going to have to wait for the rest of the team as Lake goes down. That is a huge stagger for the Broncos, who are now just under a minute remaining in overtime here. And Boise State and Gem Mountain, they have to win this fight if they want to have any semblance of pushing the payload.
Yep, you know why we were saying these first few engagements are so important? Because just that first engagement took off half the time Boise State had. The rally is going to be used as well as the SIG ultimate right as Boise State pushes past that choke, but no limit to go forward yet. Modern Frost is going to be the first one able to take out Dusty from CW Boulder. The Bongo is going to be used by them, and they also have the Blizzard available to them as well. Maybe using that, and both of the Blizzards, in fact, are going to come out from both teams. So Boise State still hasn't able to take this point. Modern Frost getting elimination onto the Sigma, followed by the Coalescence coming out, might be what they need to finally tilt this in their favor, and it's looking like that is the point. Finally, they are able to get onto the first point with eliminations coming through from the Sigma. Look at them, and boy, look at Walk on the Sigma, was able to get a triple right at the very end there, allowing them to take the first point, but they cannot rest to pat themselves on the back. They have got 0 seconds left. You better hold on to that payload like glue.
Stop the payload.
Yeah, Boise State cannot afford to lose a fight or their payload pushing journey will end, and the Buffaloes will know exactly what they need to do to be able to win this first round matchup. They do have the Coalescence and the Deadeye available. We have the Dragon Strike on Modern Frost. We'll see if he can copy, but a huge pick on the Blister, and Jay might allow Boise State to just immediately push forward. Gravitic Flux going to come out from Block. Hellstar is going to be dropping. Deadeye and Coalescence going to be used. Block will go down. Dragonsight comes flying through, and who cares who's on the Hanzo for Boise State? The result is the same, a triple kill. They'll pick up the remaining members. Blister and Jay had just respawned, and Boise State has been absolutely on fire with this Hanzo play so far.
Yeah, this Hanzo, I think every single ultimate we've seen from the Hanzo has gotten at least around 3 to 4 members of CU Boulder. That is just amazing how well they've been able to use his ultimates with stuff like the Zara or stuff like the Sig ultimate that can freeze the other team in place just long enough for those dragons to tear through them. Boise State is going to use their supercharger as well as both supports using the Coalescence and the rally as well. But look out for this Sig Sig ultimate coming through here. It's not going to be enough as food and then followed by the supports just really doing work for Boise State, able to tear through CU Boulder as well. They are now on to the second board, managing to get their score up to 5 for this round. And my goodness, Fish, if they could drive this to the final point, that would be outstanding.
Yeah, that would put a ton of pressure on CU Boulder if they can get it all the way to the 6th checkpoint. And it's been interesting to note that Lake is playing this Brigida very, very aggressively. Every time he rallies, it's not to try and keep Boise State alive, it's to start a fight for the Broncos. So we'll have to see if he can get another one up before they get all the way down to the payload. Who's going to open this fight up with the Blizzard? We'll have an answer there. So dueling Venn diagrams of doom on both sides, and it's going to get a couple of eliminations. Unfortunately, Boise State's going to beat a Coalescence. That's going to pick up a triple kill. Everyone's going to go down, but Boise State's still putting a huge chunk of work ahead of Colorado, because right now the Buffaloes have to get 2 checkpoints and pretty far into that 3rd one if they want to win.
I got to give a shout out to Mythmaker, doing a little bit of a childhood reference there, saying this definitely isn't your average everyday Hanzo from Ranked Ladder. This is advanced Hanzo. So I do very much appreciate any SpongeBob reference that someone can get in. That'll make my day right there. But you got to also note that even though Boise State didn't manage to get all the way to the 3rd point at the end, in overtime it still matters every inch you're able to push that payload. So they managed to get at a good distance about halfway into the factory stage there. So for CU Boulder, not necessarily a full push, but almost that is going to be required of them to be able to tie this up or pull out the victory here. They've got 3 minutes 18 seconds left, and Boise State, again on this first point, if they can get a couple of good eliminations, bleed off some of that time, they're looking really good here. That was an outstanding push from them in overtime.
Yeah, we'll see if Boise State can use any sort of stall tactics there to start to burn that time off, because once you start pushing the payload in overtime, any sort of lost fight is basically going to spell game over unless the respawns are staggered enough that you can maybe sneak a Wrecking Ball or a Tracer back on, but even then, you rarely see a team win. It looks like Boise State's going to stick with the Hanzo. I'll be curious to see if it's Modern Frost or Food. The result hasn't really changed, and I want to see what the other DPS is. Okay, it's going to be May. I did not want to see a Doomfist there. Boise State does not have had much luck with that at all. The shield's going to go down on both sides with the Orisa Sig blocking a ton of damage, but Dusty going to be the first one to go down there. A huge pick for Guac. Now Modern Frost in on the back line, going to go where the shields are not, trying to put as much damage as he can. Maywall is going to come up, and the Buffaloes smartly realize we have the time to burn. Let's just reset here while we wait for our member.
A great first engagement for Boise State. You can see they were able to get off 30 seconds just from that first one there. And I do have to really agree with you, Fish. I think the Doomfist was kind of a cheeky play, but maybe a bit too cheeky for its own good, especially when you consider how much time that Doomfist was trying to get some of those early flanks, but he invested so much time into trying to get those for not a lot of payoff that it allowed CU Boulder to just charge through to the next point. And CU Boulder might be able to pull that off here, as they are 2-1 up in this overall engagement here, and besides Modern Frost being able to get an elimination onto the May, all of those eliminations coming through from them are going to allow them to take this first point. Now they've got 2 minutes left, which this is a time game. Now we really haven't seen on this second point, on this second segment here, through these street levels here, we haven't really seen a team, the defending team, be able to take an engagement here, because this can be a really snowbally section of the map. But maybe Boise State can make all the difference here. Every second they take off is crucial.
Yeah, they are going to be about even in ultimates here with Team 4 of Colorado Boulder. They're going to be able to use their Gravitic Flux on the back line, going to be used in combination with the Deadeye. Coalescence coming out as well. Now it's Boise State's turn to use all of that, plus a Blizzard. That's going to be a 4-man freeze on the back line. Right now, only 2 kills to show for it, as Isaiah's going to drop down his own Blizzard to try and slow down Boise State. Doesn't look like it's going to matter much for you, though, as Saifu's going to go down, so will Omega Ruby. And that's just the classic case of the team using their ultimate second, being the winner there. I think the Buffaloes maybe used that Gravitic Flux just a bit too quickly. The entire Boise State team just line-of-sighted all the damage. That Deadeye was shockingly not useful at all, and Boise State just held on and immediately threw everything right back at him.
They are going to have more ultimates to use for this next engagement too. Unfortunately, Food is just going to be sniped right out of the way by the Lucio, and that pick is going to really help them. Boise State used both of their ultimates there as that engagement started, but I think that first pick, and look at this Arisa coming through here, getting a triple herself, followed by Dusty and the Moira being able to take out the last two members of Boise State. That was a really unfortunate pick onto Boise State, and especially since I think the other team members had already committed to like the full team fight. But once those ultimates were used, they really had lost one of their key damage makers on that Mei, and it didn't work out for them there. Really unfortunate.
But good news here for Boise State. With us into overtime, the Broncos just need to win one fight. We'll see what they want to do here. Flux immediately going to use their gravitic flux. It's going to bring out the sound barrier and the coalescence on the side of the Buffalo. So as Boise State health bars start dropping, the good news is there is no support ultimate available. I think that was a panic. I think they easily could have survived with just one of the two. Now I know coalescence is a quick charging ultimate, but if Boise State can catch them off guard, it's just the Deadeye and the gravitic flux available. This is how the Broncos can win. So I want to see if they can punish a maybe panicky double support all here by CU Boulder.
Yeah, maybe they can punish that. It would allow them to keep this match going. You can see the parking spot there a bit halfway as far as Boise State managed to do. Now the Maywalls are coming up, trying to slid off Boise State, and it is going to be successful in catching off their Sigma. Food uses his ultimate, but the Deadeye is going to come through and taking out Blake, and I do believe that CW Boulder, if they continue up this momentum, unfortunately for them, Modern Frost was able to take out their Sigma, so that is a pretty good pick. But there goes two for Boise State. Food and Modern Frost being eliminated. You see the swap on there to Quark, who is going to be on time with the Wrecking Ball, but was taken out immediately. And CW Boulder is going to get that victory, able to move on to the next round. And unfortunately for Boise State, it is going to end there. But they really had a very impressive push in overtime. And it looks like actually Lake is going to be able to get the play of the game on the Brig. So, Boise State has a little bit of solace in that. Although, okay, wait. Hold on. As much as I would love to see a Brig play of the game here, that does seem a bit stolen, Fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one nice thing about opening up with your support ultimate. You're going to get those assists on all of those Dragon Strike kills. So that's how it goes. I mean, a great job by Lake. He did a really good job on the Brigida, using it very offensively. Every rally meant Boise State wanted to fight. He didn't save the rallies to be defensive. He said, I'm rallying, we're going in. But yeah, I would argue the Dragon Strike, we had what, two 4-man kills and a 3-man kill with that. I think one of those should have definitely been there. But unfortunately for Boise State, I really think it comes down to the extra minute and 18 seconds that the Buffaloes had, because there was a fight they lost, but they had the extra time to recover because they had that extra minute to start with. So unfortunately for Boise State, it's all going to go back to that first point they had to take in regulation, taking a little bit too long, taking I think 3.5 fights, and that's going to be the difference there, is once again Boise State not going to be able to advance, and CU Boulder heads on to the next round.
Alrighty. Now we do have to say, though, Boise State was able to make it pretty close, as they were able to get such an impressive showing. Even though CU Boulder had that over a minute advantage, it was really because Boise State was able to get through so much of the map with 0 seconds remaining. You remember the clock hit 0 as soon as they took that first point, and they were able to almost get it to the third point. And it did get to a situation where Boise State, they had 2 engagements basically when the clock hit 0 for CU Boulder. So if those 2 engagements had gone the other way, Boise State would have been able to at least tie that match, maybe even win it. And so they certainly had a lot of fight left in them, no matter what the circumstances.
Yeah, and Boise State, even though they have so far been unable to advance to the second round, they've been so close. I know against Mississippi State, we went to a Game 3 in this best-of-2 format. I think this is the second time Boise State's gone to an overtime scenario in the second game, and unfortunately not been able to hold on. But I think they are very close to breaking through. I'll be curious to see how the bracket falls next week if we do continue doing this. As we can see here, Wichita State, UNLV, Utah, and CU Boulder all advancing. But Boise State has been very close here. I know they had a very close match against Texas A&M a couple of weeks ago as well. You want to drop !free sub in the chat. See if you can use a Twitch Prime subscription to check that match out with any of our past broadcasts that you can watch when you are subscribed. But Boise State's been very close. I think they are right there into breaking through into the second round, and then after that it expands to a best of 3, and maybe that one extra game might be able to turn the favors for Boise State. But they are very close. Would not shock me if week 5 could be their week.
It could definitely be their week. And this is a pool of universities that are at the top of the game, with UNLV and Utah, two of the best teams in collegiate Overwatch, being consistently what Boise State has to go up against. They are going up the best against the best of the best so many times. And that is really good practice. You know, if you're going to consistently get better at the game and really challenge yourself, then you might as well go up against some of the best competition. You can see there a shot. You can see the team there. That was one of the times they were able to go with UNLV, as they were able to get to the Mountain West Finals in Vegas just right before a lot of this social distancing and lockdowns happened. So if there was a time to go to a championship and squeeze that in while you could still travel, they found just the perfect time for it. But right now, we are still left in our homes waiting for the day when we can all return to this arena and cheer our team on again. And here's some cowbells again. I really miss hearing the actual cowbell sounds. I don't know about you, Fish.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen production, shout out to them. They have added some crazy graphics. I mean, the overlay we have now is fantastic. I would not be shocked if somehow, some way, production finds a way to get some cowbells in here. You just got to be careful, production. Don't bring out the cowbells when we play Mississippi State. I think they have first claim to that, and that might not go over well. But no, I'm definitely excited to hear the cowbells sit in those chairs. Though I do like my comfy little desk chair I have here, but be able to enjoy those beanbags, be able to enjoy that video game arcade that we've got set up there. It's going to be a lot of fun when we can get back Jim Mountain, but we do have to say huge shout out to everyone to, hey, allow us to keep going even in this time of social distancing.
Yep. Now we are going to be taking a short break here, as we are going to be going into the next Overwatch match. However, we are going to be taking a short time to guess who the player of the game is. Do you have any predictions, Fish?
I mean, even despite what the game said, it's got to be food. I mean, he had 2 4Ks on with Dragon Strike. I don't know how you can really argue that. I know Modern Frost had a 3K and might have picked up one as well, but 2 4Ks. I think he even got a 5K total after maybe shooting a couple people, whether they had low health bars. So yeah, it's got to be food with the Dragon Strike. There's really no one else who deserved it. Sorry, Lake, you kind of stole that player of the game in Blizzard's eyes.
Although maybe he does get player of the game, if just for the shrewdness of timing the rally at just the right time to steal. You know, it's not just the flashy show effects. It really is also the strategery, if you will, of being able to time that ultimate at just the right to make the game say, you know what, okay, I'll give it to the Brig as well. You know, that seems fine. So that would actually be really hilarious if they gave the player of the game to Lake, just like a double snub onto Modern Frost as well. But there you go. We are going to be going into this break. We are going to be doing it and leaving you with the player of the game and the top 5 plays of the game. So stay tuned, because we have got a lot more coming up to you. Another Overwatch match, so stay tuned. As the Coalescence is from Boise State, and Guark is unfortunately going to be eliminated, but Boise State is going to be answering back with Modern Frost, Food, and Asu each getting eliminations of their own. The Lucio is going to be able to get an environmental kill off of the Brigida, but Modern Frost is still, and Bastion is kind of walking up the street, trying to get the right angle when he can. There goes the supercharger. The Bastion's going to turn into the tank and blow away the McCree as well. Hanzo's also going to do some work to shatter as well. It's just going to be used in combination to tear through CW Boulder, and because Blister and Jay used his ultimate, another good ultimate is Sig's ultimate, along with the Coalescence, CU Boulder is just going to throw everything they have at Boise State, but it is not working. You see, Quark is using his Shatter to help him take out the enemy Sig, and now here comes the Blizzard, but highly delayed, and already when the fight was won for Boise State, things just...
See what Modern Frost wants to do here. He's sneaking up on the backline. Nobody knows he does get stunned, but he's able to use that help. Plus, a great immortality feels very aggressive for Boise State, jumping right on the Buffaloes at that first point. I don't know if CU Boulder was ready for that. They're going to get a couple of eliminations, both onto the tanks. That should push it back, and
And both of the Blizzards, in fact, are going to come out from both teams. But Boise State still hasn't able to take this point. Modern Cross getting elimination onto the Sigma, followed by the Coalescence coming out, might be what they need to finally tilt this in their favor. And it's looking like that is the point. Finally, they are able to get onto the first point with eliminations coming through from the Sigma. Look at them.
A copy, but a huge pick on the Blister, and Jay might allow Boise State to just immediately push forward. Gravitic Flux going to come out from block. Elmar is going to be dropping. Deadeye and Coalescence going to be used. Block will go down. Dragon State flying through it. Appears on the hull of the Boise State. Result is the same, a triple kill to pick up the remaining members district.
As we can see, we're going to be moving into the second match here, Finn. And they might be off to a better start there. The elimination's going a little bit more back and forth here.
Yeah, Boise State definitely off to a much better start this time, not only picking up a majority of the eliminations, but they have already captured the point and are building up to 20%. Gravitic Flux going to come out from a...
The Bastion is kind of walking up the street, trying to get the right angle when he can. There goes the Supercharger. The Bastion's going to turn into the tank and blow away the McCree as well. Hanzo's also going to do some work to shatter as well. It's just going to be used a combination to tear through CW Boulder. And because Blister and Jay used his ultimate,
allow Boise State to regroup. Lake's going to use the rally though. Maywall does come down. Gravitic Flux used by Omega Ruby. Boise State should be able to survive. Only Guat going down there. Asu not quite able to get the Coalescence up in time. Graviton going to be used there. Here's with the Dragon Strike, and that's going to be another 4-man Dragon Strike. Food can...
tear through them. Boise State is going to use their Supercharger as well as both supports using the Coalescence and the Rally as well. But look out for the signal commit coming through here. It's not going to be enough as Food and then followed by the supports just really doing work for Boise State, able to tear through CU Boulder as
That was a great job getting to the next checkpoint, but a great contest by the Buffaloes who's going to hold Boise State just a bit short. Dragon Strike is going to come out. Lake will use his rally. A 4-man Dragon Strike from Food. He'll add a 5th kill on top of that. Can't quite make it 6, but my goodness, what a Dragon Strike. My goodness, what a Dragon Strike.
Since 2016, universities have been adding varsity esports, competitive intercollegiate video game teams, with nearly 100 colleges and universities now with official programs. Esports is fast becoming the new college sport. But with any dramatic change comes criticism. How could institutions of higher learning promote something so trivial? But when you look a little closer, esports demonstrates, just like other sports, that it's a pathway to something more.
There's several misconceptions when it comes to esports and its place on the university campus. The first and foremost is that people would say it's not a valuable learning activity. It's not a place where people can learn new job-related skills or maybe get a good industry feel for what's happening outside the university environment. And that's just simply not the case. And all evidence points otherwise. There are so many new jobs. The industry is absolutely booming. People are looking for students that are graduating with experience in things like streaming and technologies, marketing, the whole business side, sponsorships. There's the whole graphics and coding component that involved in esports and other video game type of activities that are really important in just terms of jobs and industry.
And on their way to those careers, students who attend schools with varsity esports programs can compete for their university. But in order to be eligible, students have to meet the same high academic standards as other student athletes.
You have to maintain a certain GPA. You shouldn't be playing constantly. You should have like a certain time frame and like practice for like 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day. You shouldn't be just like overwhelming yourself.
Care about your grades first and foremost. As Dr. Haskell said, he cares about our grades first because we came to college to get an education, to get a degree. and then we also get to do what we love and play esports.
Athletics and other university-sanctioned activities bind students together with purpose, a chance to be part of something bigger than yourself, where we learn to work hard, play a role, lose with dignity, win with honor. All for our school. This is why we play.
Back to tonight's Boise State esports broadcast. And Fish, you know as well as I do as we watch these matches that anything can happen at a moment's notice, and anything has happened in regards to the schedule tonight, because we are not going to be playing an Overwatch match. Instead, we have University of Mississippi in a surprise Rainbow Six Siege match, which is going to be very exciting, Fish. So let me set this up for you, Fish. It's a game we're looking at, I have just been told by production. So it's going to be a kind of a new experience. I know we have broadcasted Rainbow Six Siege once before, but Fish, do you remember viewing those broadcasts when we were broadcasting Hearthstone, and Cheese, who was kind of the co-caster, who was... and Cheese, who was kind of there more for like moral support, giving some comments here or there, giving just a little bit of spice to the broadcast. That's what I'll take in this Rainbow Six Siege match, as you will be the guide through this through this game that we haven't really seen that often in Boise State esports. So give us a general overview as we are ready to play a Rainbow Six Siege match.
Well, you clearly did not get your money's worth when you hired this guy, Jim Mountain, because I'm not going to claim to be any sort of expert. I was there on the cast the last time we had Rainbow Six Siege, but other than that, I am still relatively new into the whole thing. Circumstances coming up lately have prevented me from diving in as much as I wanted to, as I don't own the game. But from my understanding, it's sort of like a Counter-Strike meets League of Legends Overwatch type, where it's going to be first team to eliminate the other team and search and destroy, but there's abilities that each character has. There's special guns that each character has. So it is sort of a combination of Counter-Strike meets Overwatch, where you don't just save up your money, buy your op, and then just pop off one round, but you pick a certain operator. That operator has special talents that you then use to capture the bomb, and it is sort of flipped. The attacking team actually has to defend the bomb. It is sort of interesting here, so I do like it, and it's going to be interesting to see how all of this goes.
Now we do see a ban phase. Is that kind of what you were talking about a little bit in terms of like kind of a league thing being implemented? And each team being able to ban 2 operators?
Yeah, there isn't. This is where it is sort of more like Overwatch, where you have each operator has his own unique abilities, his own unique guns that has unique handling properties, make some of them good in close range, make some of them good in further engagement. So that is where the ban comes out here, taking care of certain operators that you don't want to see. I know Blackbeard is very strong, as we've seen. I think the last time we saw this match, it was actually he was banned away a lot. So yeah, it is the sort of thing where you are kind of banning away people you don't want to see. So it is that Overwatch theme to it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I definitely wouldn't want to see Blackbeard as well as Thatcher. Both two very intimidating figures, I just gotta say. Both of them kind of going with the general sunglasses kind of vibe. You know, you don't even want to look in their eyes, because what lies behind those glasses and masks is just too terrifying for mortal eyes.
Yeah, and I will say the one unique thing, if anyone in the chat has ever, maybe played Counter-Strike or they played Overwatch, like I'm sure everyone has, but has not delved into this game, is this does have the, I guess I could say, more realism in it in terms of damage, because all headshots are one-shots. Does not matter what gun it is, does not matter where you hit them from. All headshots are just, you're gone.
I gotta say, that is truly a great point, because when I really think about it, not just with Overwatch, but I play Paladins, which has even higher health pools than Overwatch does at times, so you can have like 10 headshots and they're still alive. So I appreciate you pointing that out in terms of like, no, this is realism, and like you're getting hit in the head, you're going down, and it's true elimination, and like when you are eliminated, that's it. You're down. Good luck to the rest of the team. And I do have to say, we have someone... Oh, I'm sorry. We
Go
have a
ahead.
character. We have Doc, a character Doc. So I don't know if Doc, our Doc on production is going to have a bit of a dual loyalty here because the last thing he's going to want to see is Doc eliminated.
Yeah, he would not. Well, I think he actually would want to see Doc eliminated here because that is the side of Mississippi playing Doc, so I don't think he would like that. And then there is the unique part here of Rainbow Six where there is a 6-pick, so you're allowed to sort of have that last-second counter pick as well. So it is kind of interesting to see how you can see the team comp and then each team able to get a 6-pick if they wanted to change things around. And so as you see here, this is the reinforce phase, so 30 seconds here to the Rebels to reinforce the certain doors they want. You can see they have those 2 second-floor bomb sites here, but also noting that all of the floors are able to be shot through, so have to be very careful if you are the side of Mississippi not being picked off here. Also, as you can see some of them opening up those floors below them, as there is it really is a very fun element of how destructible the map is. If you've ever played a game like Battlefield, it sort of brings that back to it, where anything in the building's destroyable. You could shoot through the floors if you want to. You can obviously shoot through all the windows, and as you can see here with Boise State attacking, it is very, very tactical here. Seeing this garage way, very, very key for both sides. We played this earlier, and you can use the shotgun there just to try and open it up, allow a cleaner entry point there as well. And I will say, my favorite part of this game, Jim Mountain, is you can rappel off the top, and you actually have the ability to be shooting upside down, which I think is one of the most disorienting things I've ever seen, and some of the players do it extremely, extremely well.
Yeah, and one interesting thing is, as we look at some of the abilities that some of these operators have, we were just kind of joking about Doc, but that is kind of going to be a very crucial pick. As we were saying, if someone is downed, I was saying, that's out, they are, but Doc does have the ability where he is able to revive down allies and do healing with his weapon as well. So that's kind of one of those operators or one of those characters that can really be a crucial pick, because once you've gotten that healing out of the way, the rest of the team can fall like dominoes.
Yeah, and it does seem to me like right now Boise State trying to siege. It looks like they did have one member. Didn't quite see who it was rappelling up on the top there. You can see him right in the middle of your screen. Can't quite catch a name, but he is repelled there. Meanwhile, the rest of Boise State, they are going to get a huge pick onto one member. There is that headshot icon to mean that partially is going to be immediately eliminated. Sherb will go down, unfortunately, so it is going to be a 4v4. And Sherb, I think for Boise State, might have been one of those members who was up there. Now, the bombs are hidden to the attacking side. Boise State has been able to find one of them, so they know at least one spot they need to go. They've now found the second bomb as well. They're actually very close to each other in this. And this is what I'm talking about here, Gem Mountain. This is upside down gameplay, and I have no idea how Fox is even able to see anything that he's shooting at, or Juco for that matter.
Yeah, this really is quite something here. Look at these margins here. It's like it seems like there's like 10 pixels of an opening on some of these shots, especially when they are upside down. So one of the great things about esports is the opportunity, like just that narrow opening through the door there. And look at that, Danny is going to be able to take out Flotsam, making it a 4-3-3. Like I was saying, just some of these situations. Thing I love about esports is just these players make me marvel at their skills sometimes of things that I could never pull off.
Yeah, there is Gavino is hidden up on that top floor right by that bomb. He is in between two members of Boise State. We can see him there. Now going to try and drop down. That would open up something for Boise State. Trent going to get a pick onto Chris P, making a 4v3. And Boise State is all alone on this bomb right now. I don't think they know that. You can see Thunder's holding on the other bomb, but if Boise State can get the diffuser going, that can start the countdown as the timer is taken down. That Boise State going to try and defuse the bomb. Unfortunately for Gavino, falling down, he's going to get headshot as well by Danny, so it's up to just the last two members. Thunder has to try and rush in, but the Broncos have two members on the point. They're going to have very crucial sightlines here, so Thunder has to be very careful. Going to sneak all the way around here. There is a member right in front of him, didn't even see him, and Boise State able to take round one. I think that really came down to, unfortunately, Gavino, when he tried to retreat, fell down through one of the holes that his team actually had made, and that really opened everything up for Boise State.
All right, now we see round two is going to be, and then bring us into give us a little bit of an overview of the general progressions of the round. What happens now in round two?
it is going to be the same thing there. If you saw in the middle of the screen when it said Boise State 1-0, there was a 5 with sort of a arrow flip. At 5 rounds, the teams will switch sides. So Boise State's going to be attacking for the first 5 rounds of the game. Does not matter if they win all 5. Does not matter if that was the only round they win. They will attack for the first 5 rounds, and then it will flip. And I do believe it is the first team to 7, but they have to win by 2. So we can see sort of that, fifth set in volleyball thing where Boise State has to win a couple extra games. But yeah, we're going to see 5 straight rounds of Boise State attacking Gem Mountain. Does not matter what happens at all.
Now, we were talking about, the attacking team normally not knowing where the bomb is, but that isn't the case, and we saw the pick coming through for Boise as IQ was one of the picks, and it looks like a very handy ability for being able to detect electronics, including the bomb, in these matches. So that seems like it seems like there are general weaknesses, to these games like mechanics, like you don't know where the bombs are, or like once your teammate is down, they're out. But there are also very specific operators that can help fill in those holes that the game mechanics kind of purposely leave.
10 seconds left.
And a lot of the operators do have very special electronics. There are some cameras that you can get on defense and sort of allow you to put up your own little security wall. So being able to protect those is very huge on IQ as well. So that is going to be the thing. I'll be curious to see how Mississippi wants to set up their defense this time. And really, I think it comes down to it's just such a very, very tactical for positioning game, because Gavino was in a perfect spot. He couldn't be seen through either window by the 2 members of Boise State, but he fell down through a hole that his team had created to try and give themselves an advantage. So it's a game of pixels, as you mentioned, Gem Mountain. 1 or 2 pixels could make the entire difference.
Yeah, that really, man, I don't know if I could even just begin to show a tenth of the skill that we see on here. We do see in Twitch chat, some of the members in the Twitch chat, surprised that we do have a Rainbow Six team, and yeah, we do. But that's just one thing I also just got to say to the chat is there is so much that goes on behind the scenes with trying to line up new games and teams to play on those new games. We always have stuff kind of cooking in the back to where if an opportunity arises, we can play and bring a new game like Rainbow Six Siege to all of you. So another reason to support Boise State Esports is that you allow those kinds of moments to come through, and you might be able to see your favorite game come through on the stream next year. I do hear a lot going on in the I do hear a lot going on in the background, Fish. I will say that.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Boise State, doesn't sound like much of what was happening in the background was very good. You can see here 3 members already down for the Broncos. They've only gotten 1 elimination onto partially as well. So Boise State has to be very curious here, very careful, I should say, on trying to find. It looks like the bombs might even be in the same location for Mississippi State. So maybe a little bit of confidence if they can hold on. As you can see, Boise State unfortunately has dropped the diffuser as Juco does get cut out. A great job there by Gavino, this time in the exact same spot, just not quite falling down, so he's not able to open up that point. And you can see the crazy things about this game where the bullet holes in the wall could be used as these little sight lines to see if you could see someone. So just incredible the amount of tactical thinking that has to go into this game.
You've really lost me. When you're saying bullet holes can be used as sights, I'm officially I'm gonna go back to playing Tetris, where everything makes sense and everything is simple. Fill a line, it disappears. That is more my speed right now. Well, once I can play some FPSs, but once you start talking about bullet holes being looked through, my brain might just shut off here. And it looks like Boise State, all of their brains have shut off as well, at least for that round, because it didn't go quite their way. So we didn't see a lot of that round, but quite frankly, with the way it went, we might not as, I'm glad we didn't see a lot of that round.
Yeah, and for the one thing I have gathered from talking to some of the players on the Siege team for Boise State is that when you're attacking, it really comes down to being quick but not being too sloppy, because the longer and longer you wait, of course, all of the pressure is on the attacking team. They have to try and plant the diffuser before time runs out, and I have seen a couple times where, unfortunately, either attacking side has just kind of got down to this 30-second mark. They all have to start rushing it on the point, and that's when they start to go down. So it is sort of this organized chaos that Boise State has to bring on the attacking side, where they have to make sure they're careful, they don't get picked off, but they also can't sort of be too slow, be too cautious, because there is a timer ticking down.
Now we do see the loadouts coming there through from both teams. Here we go, same map, and like you said, Fish, this is first to 5. Am I correct?
I actually think I was a little bit wrong there. I was a little bit wrong on that. It is the first is 7 rounds is when it flips over there. You saw 4 more rounds until we switched. There was actually a countdown there. Like I said, still trying to figure that out. So we'll have to be seeing there. So yeah, first to 7 will win, but I do believe you have to win by 2, so sometimes you can go a little bit longer. But the one thing to point out here, this time, Jim Mountain, is the bombs have switched. They are in the basement this time, so that garage strategy that we've seen from Boise State coming out there, probably not going to be something they're able to use, because that garage is now all electric fencing, being one of the operators being used there by Mississippi, a very good one on defense to really allow it to be a bit harder to siege.
Now, does the defending team know where the bombs are before the match starts? So, like you were saying, okay, they don't. That's why they recon it. Okay, because I was thinking if you know where they are beforehand, you can like choose a specific operator. So, just kind of learning things as we go along here, and just that wall being knocked down, and this is really a lot for me. I like the destructible environments aspect of this, but my goodness, if this doesn't introduce, and there you go, just a little bit of a hi, how do you do? Unfortunately, it's going to be right towards Fox on Boise State, so not a good start for them.
No, and that's where it plays in with the headshot one-shots there. Chris just got one quick shot, and just like that, he's also going to be eliminated. So Danny going to get a pick on that one, as Boise State has to come through on the main level and maybe attempt to work their way down. I will say, you can sort of get a little bit of a hint on where the bomb is, because just simply set up on how the teams really set up their defense. If the top isn't as fortified, the bombs probably aren't on the second floor. So I would think, it doesn't give away exactly their positioning, but it does sort of give a hint to Boise State to say, okay, I know the bomb is on this floor. Also, they do have those little drones that you see there that they are able to use to get a little bit of advantage. So Boise State, I think, has an idea of where the bombs are and that they are on the basement. But as we talked about, they have to be very careful not to get caught out here. But this is start of the time where it is this sort of controlled chaos, because Boise State is working down with a minute left. They've got to be a bit quicker as soon as they drop down to about 45 seconds, as there is one member spotted out there. He is going to unfortunately go down, and Boise State is going to drop the diffuser, so they're going to have to go back to Juco's body to pick that up. Danny, though, is going to pick up an elimination of his own to bring it to a 3v3. You can see, though, on the left side of your screen, the health bars there, Sherb and Danny are very, very low, so they have to be very, very careful in any sort of engagement. Smoke's going to go out there from Sherb on the member of Boise State. They are trying to work towards that diffuser, as you can see. A couple of members of Mississippi set up around. Boise State has picked up the diffuser with 30 seconds left. They've got to start going in Gem Mountain. This is what I've talked about, is you can be as careful as you want, but there is still a timer ticking down against you.
Yeah, no time to lose. Boise State it is still even 3-3 right now. You can see Danny right here. Now, Danny swapped onto a character called Sledge, which we can see right there why he's called Sledge. I have just got to really commend them for that very creative naming there. His name's Sledge, yes, Sledgehammer. Unfortunately, Boise State dropped the diffuser, and 2 of them went down, leaving only 1. So, Ultra Set, you better... no, you're not going to be able to. No, okay. I was about to give him a pep talk, but unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. So, at least you know that my pep talks, I'm here to provide support in spirit, but that's not going to win games by themselves.
Yeah, just a great job there by the member of Mississippi getting in. Looked like on top of a vending machine, putting himself in a spot that maybe Boise State hasn't seen before, didn't expect. They were trying to rush onto the bomb and couldn't quite get the diffuser off. And losing your diffuser also going to slow you down because you have to go back. The enemy teams might be able to know where you're going. So it is very key to not, lose any members, especially who's holding the diffuser. So we'll see how Boise State can do it this time. But from what I have gathered, defense is definitely the viewed to be as the easier side to win on. So it really is key how many rounds Boise State can steal attacking that might be able to set them up for victory when they switch over to defense.
Now, as we're kind of spotlighting different operators here as we go on, we see Boise State is using Lion, which is interesting in the fact that he has his own drone that he can use to kind of gauge out enemy movement and get Boise State a little bit more intel. And, drones definitely... I gotta say, Fish, as far as drones, I've seen some of those videos of, like, police using drones nowadays during all this social distancing to help enforce it. So whenever I see a drone, whether it's in real life or in video games, it just makes me... it just really reinforces the fact that we are slowly drifting towards sci-fi becoming a real thing with all these drones taking over.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah, it is crazy, Gem Mountain. I will say the one thing this time is the bombs are on different floors here for Mississippi. The last couple of rounds, they had 2 on the top floor, 2 in the basement. Now they have 1 on the first floor and 1 in the basement. So that does mean the members of the Rebels are going to be a bit more spread out this time. Maybe you only have to be very selective on how you defend the objective. So for Boise State, this would be an opportunity where it is a bit easier to find one of the bomb sites because there's not going to be all 6 members sort of huddled around 2 very, very close bombs.
And you see Fox here is on Montague, I believe, and you just saw him there, has his shield up, which can help block bullets as well. So I would assume kind of a bit of an operator that might be a bit more tanky in his design there.
Yeah, it might be something there. So
A bomb has been located.
sounds like Gem Mountain. There might be a drone outside your house right now.
Yeah,
They
someone
wanna
in the
be
chat
careful.
is saying that there's a drone. See, this is how deep all of this goes right here. Is I just point it out and already they're onto me. So I better watch what I say here, or else our new robot overlords are going to be coming and breaking down my door.
Yeah, Tech RP. No, he's already prepared, Jim. Now you got to be always aware of your surroundings. Double check twice, for those sneaky drones. But Boise State is going to lose. By the way, they did lose Danny early in that, so they will be fighting a more uphill battle as we start into this. It looks like Mississippi does have 1 member. I believe that's partially sitting up on the 2nd floor, maybe trying to find a good sight line there. As you can see, Boise State crowded around Chris P down on that basement floor, trying to see if anyone from Boise State maybe tries to rush down to the basement, searching for a bomb. Have not seen that Boise has discovered either bomb that is up right now, so the Broncos are still trying to find exactly where to go, and ironically they are actually right on the other side of a wall from a bomb. Of course, they do not know that, and there is no doorway there, so they will have to take the long way. It's 3 members there gathered up all behind Fox, who has the shield in front of him, and Juco going to get a pick onto Partially. That was sort of the roamer for Mississippi. That's going to be huge for Boise State, open up more freedom for them.
What I find to be quite interesting here is, like you said, Boise State does kind of not realizing that the bomb is on the other side of the wall there. And I do have a question in terms of bomb placement. Since this is around, you can see here that shield was just going to be right up, just kind of a shield of impending doom moving towards Mississippi there. That wasn't a pretty sight that you want to see here. Bit of a grenade being placed right there to help them see through the ceiling a bit more. But Fish, with the bombs being on different floors here, is that necessarily something that you want to see or do not want to see as the defending team? Because I have to imagine that with them placed on different floors, that spreads out your resources more.
Need to protect it.
Yeah, it does spread out your resources, as you saw there. The last two remaining members for Mississippi make that the last remaining member had to push up from the basement. They were defending that other bomb, trying to get to the diffuser. Now, there is only a pair of members alive for Boise State as well, so they have to be very, very careful. You can see there Chris P trying. He has to get up that floor. Unfortunately for him, there is a member of the Broncos waiting for him, but a great headshot is going to get him there. He's just got to find the last member. He's going to try and hop right onto the diffuser. Unfortunately, Fox is there with his shield, and he's going to stop it. Boise State going to be able to get the defuse off, and they are going to win that round.
And the best thing about that is just coming up with the shield. Like I said, the wall of doom moving towards you is something that you definitely do not want to see. And I gotta say, Fish, this game really kind of carves out an interesting spot in the esports, because unlike all of the other games we play, there is really one mood that this game captures better than anything else, and that is like true suspense. Because, you know, if you're eliminated in League or Overwatch, you know, or if you're demoed in Rocket League, you're coming back in a matter of seconds. Here, there is real suspense in seeing things play out. Oh, this team is down one, but this headshot just evened it up. It's like every single move can be your last, and just waiting to see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, you know, a lot in some games, Overwatch, League of Legends, you can lose several fights in a row and still find a way to come back. It's one gunfight. The loser of that gunfight's not coming back. He's not going to be able to help out his team. Now, maybe if he puts some damage on the other guy, it'll help out. But yeah, as you mentioned, Jim, on this one, you have to be. I mean, that's why you see the time ticking down. That's why you see, even with the 2.5 minutes that Boise State gets, with the need to try and get onto the bomb as soon as quickly and not run into that moment where they. As it looks like Danny is going to actually lose his drone. Great job there by partially to spot that out with the bombs in the exact same spot. That is why it is so key to be very, very precise in your movements. Use those bullet holes as we talked about there, because any sort of intel gain you can get, if you could see someone's toe in this game, that can change the entire thing because you know where someone's sitting. So that's why it is a very fast-paced but deliberate play style that you see in this game.
It's a play style that can sure get my heart beating, and apparently Gavin Nino is on an operator called Pulse who can do just that. Detecting heartbeats within 10 meters of himself, which just terrifies me, Fish. I'm already looking at, you know, destroying environments, looking through bullet holes. Now they're going to detect my heartbeat as well. This is terrifying to me.
Yeah, and that actually, from what I've gathered, kind of highlights the power of IQ, one of the operators you talked about earlier, Jim Mountain, with the ability to sense electronics, because a heartbeat sensor is an electronic. So yeah, wow, it's great that you can see the heartbeat of other members. That does open it up for IQ to be able to spot out exactly where you are. So that member has to be very, very cautious when they use the heartbeat monitor. They have to be very aware of potentially where the IQ is, if the IQ's gone down. So it is sort of this cat and mouse game where, yeah, you hear this one operator and you say, wow, that's so overpowered, he can hear heartbeats, and then, oh, but there's an operator who, if you use it at the wrong time, can immediately know exactly where you are.
Yeah, just that thing of, powerful abilities, but there are counters just going into the overall strategy of that pick and ban that we saw earlier. What we're seeing right now is no team has managed to get the first elimination. Like you said, just a bit of that cat and mouse, and that's going to be a great start for Boise State if Juco is going to be able to eliminate Flauntz and giving Boise State the early advantage here.
And the Broncos did find that Bomb B is on the basement, so they know that they can, if they can get to it. They also found Bomb A as well. You do see a couple members of Mississippi are down there. Look like 2 members for the Rebels were on the basement there. A great job by Juco getting another elimination, and that is the one reason why, Jim Mountain, I worry for myself if I ever played this game. In the other FPS games that I have, aim has not always been my friend. I know every game has a headshot multiplier. Nothing as crazy as this game, but sometimes, you know, the torso is bigger. It's just easy to aim for. So the fact that anything in the head's a one-shot definitely has worried me, Jim Mountain, in the terms of how good I can get at this game.
Speaking of,
Yeah,
maybe that wasn't. I think that was a couple of shots, but.
Yeah, even if out in the head, the time to eliminate in this game is absolutely just insanely quick. You have to be permanently aware of your surroundings. As Sherm is going to get one. There's just one member left for the Rebels, and Boise State going to be able to take him out. Looked like he missed just a couple shots there, and that was the difference. But there was a huge number count advantage for Boise State. So even if Danny does go down there, I do think Boise State might have been able to come out victorious. We are 1 round away from swapping. It is every 7 rounds they switch, and Boise State doing a great job here, winning at least 3. So it will be at worst case for Boise State, a 3-3 tie when they go to defend.
Now, you do see Thunder here as a player on Mississippi that we should point out, choosing Castle, which he has chosen every single round thus far. Castle, I'm told, can heavily reinforce windows, which basically, after hearing about all these other abilities, I'm like, thank you, this is what I would do personally if I was in this situation. I would just try to board up everything, place lead-lined barrier to lead-lined barrier, and just try to huddle it out, and just because this is one of the most terrifying games I've seen thus far, just in terms of mechanics. Like, to my sensibilities as a Hearthstone player who's used to sitting in a nice warm tavern with everyone cheering me on as I play a collectible card game, this is quite the different atmosphere right now.
Yeah, this is quite... I mean, it is almost as deliberate as Hearthstone in the sense that you do have to almost be planning ahead. You have to think, okay, where are they going to be? What corner am I going to check? If they're not in that corner, where's the next corner going to be? As in Hearthstone, as you would know, Gem Mountain, okay, what is my turn 7 play when I'm on turn 5? But other than that, everything changes because the time limit in Hearthstone is nearly as long as the round limit in this game. So it is sort of that organized chaos I've been referencing where everything's crazy. You could fall over in just one shot if you don't, if you get peeked in the wrong area, but at the same time, you can't just go in guns a-blazing or you'll just fall over dead every time.
Yeah, you can't go in blasting. And I do love this kind of mechanic of barriers that we're seeing here, just kind of adding to that overall tactical feel that you were talking about. Because we do have specific operators can break down heavy barriers. That's almost a bit of a tongue twister. Yeah, they can break down barriers. So you got to choose. Do I choose an operator who there might be there's a heavy barrier there in this particular map that gets me really good positioning here? It's very interesting seeing all the strategy as a first-time viewer here, seeing all this different kind of strategy play out.
Yeah, this Boise State actually going to find Bomb A very early into the round. Now, no eliminations or really any sort of damage has gone out from either side, so the Broncos need to be very, very careful, even knowing where it is, to make sure they do not get picked off, as they have gone for what I have seen is a very common strat on this map, to sort of siege through that garage door area unless the bomb is right next to it. Usually the defenders don't go too heavy in the defense. They're kind of realizing it is a hard area to defend, especially with the ability for some teams to siege it. So right now, Boise State just being very, very cautious overall in their movements. Looks like for the most part, they have all come down through the basement here, starting to work their way up. You have seen partially has been found out, taking a little bit of damage, but Boise State, Jim, this is what I'm talking about. That time, it goes really quick, and now with almost just over a minute left, Boise State going to have to speed up. Unfortunately for them, Fox going to be the first one eliminated.
Yeah, Flonson's going to be credited with that, and see another elimination, not going to make things any easier for Boise State. Ultraset was the next one, and I guess when it rains, it pours, because Flonson is going to get himself a triple.
Yeah, Ponce doing a great job of realizing Boise State was coming down through the garage area, as Danny's going to get a pick onto partially and kind of doing a nice little flank there, but the Broncos doing a great job. They have planted the diffuser, and bad news for Mississippi. They unfortunately had everyone right below it. Now, they did have that floor open, so they're able to shoot the diffuser through, and then the defenders are going to win round 6, so it is going to be a 3-3 tie.
So I would assume here, and I know I'm probably stating the obvious here, but I just want to check, as I'm building my knowledge base. So it seems the basic strategy, is try to defuse the bomb, but it also seems like, if I'm not mistaken, it is an automatic win if all the team members are eliminated. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that is the theory. There are a couple of win conditions for the defense. Of course, it is have time run out without the diffuser be planted, or eliminate every member of the offense. And for the offensive side, it is defuse the bomb or eliminate every member of the defending side. So you are correct, Jim. Out there are a couple of win conditions for both sides. Either eliminate everybody, which is sometimes the easier one, or either defuse the bomb and or run out of time.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
And you can also, which is the sort of how this compares to at least me for Counter-Strike. If you get the bomb plan off, that becomes your win condition. Does not matter if all of your members are eliminated. If the defending side does not have time to defuse the bomb, to stop the diffuser, excuse me, they will lose. So there is that sort of, once the diffuser's planted, that becomes your new win condition. But I would say about 90% of the time, Jim Mountain, if your team's eliminated and the diffuser's planted, the other team should be able to stop it.
5 seconds.
So you see, Juco did choose Valkyrie, which does give kind of one of those, looks like one of those operators that can give more of a tactical advantage, just placing like kind of a camera down that anyone on the team can view. So just giving your team an overall view of the situation, just seeing if someone's coming down a flank route that you want to keep your eye on a little bit. So that just seems like an operator that's just built for defense, just to my untrained eye.
Yeah, I do believe attacking and defending, for the most part, do have unique operators. So that is why you would see someone like that who can place a bunch of cameras down being used defensively. And so I would agree. But it looks like Mississippi doing a great job with their own drones, able to find out Bomb A very quickly into this. Looks like we're seeing a lot of familiar bomb placement here, Jim Mountain. A lot of teams opting for this first floor and base sort of bomb setup.
Yeah, they can apparently, before each round starts, as I've been learning, choose kind of a general-ish location where the bombs are going to be. So there is kind of that strategy, and as we were talking earlier, you know, you might want to try to split up resources if the bombs are on different floors as well. So a lot to consider, especially with, you know, different barriers going up and different entrances. There really does seem to be a lot to consider, almost like, especially from this top-down view, almost like a board game that you're watching from above.
Yeah, Boise State actually start with the first 2 eliminations. Great job by Sherb there, able to pick up a double kill, and Boise State has to be feeling very confident. Now, Mississippi does know where both the bombs are, and they look to be in a very similar spot to where the Rebels had actually picked to defend, so they might have a strategy on how to defend it, or maybe Boise State said, your defense was so strong, let's see if you can get through our defense on the same bombs. I will say Flaunson is also very, very low, so he has to be very careful if he gets into any sort of engagement, that if he does not get an early headshot, he will probably go down.
All right, we see Boise State. They do have the advantage in numbers, though. They are 5-3 right now. About a little over 50 seconds left on the clock. A bit of a peek here, and he is going to be able to catch out one of the members of Mississippi right there. That was just beautiful, right in the back. Didn't even have the chance to see. Boise State doing a great job this round. Looks like they're probably going to be able to make it 4-3. Yep, they do. A flawless round for them, too.
Yeah, that's a great play there by Boise State. They've been doing a really good job there, and they sort of said, all right, Mississippi, we saw your defense. Let's see if you can crack ours, and they didn't even lose a single member. Great job there by Boise State.
Alrighty.
All right, guys,
The
production
voice.
here. I got a question for you. Now, these operators all have different names. We'll just take a look at them here real quick. Doc, clearly someone who can help you. Castle, someone who can reinforce windows and really get you walled up in there. Here's the question. If based on ability, what's your nickname? If your nickname is based on something that you do better than anybody else on the team, what's yours?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question, Doc. I'm trying to think of the right word here. Just a second. I'm pulling out a thesaurus right here, okay?
Oh man, he's coming out with
I-
the thesaurus.
Coming in strong.
I am trying to think of the right way to phrase mine. I know there's a funny little way I can phrase it, so I'll go with that. I have to say, my nickname would be Trash, not for my gameplay, but because I would be the best trash talker on the team, bar none. I love trash talking.
Oh,
I think tilt is one of the greatest psychological advantages you can have in a video game. I have used it to my advantage countless number of times, winning games that I had no business winning. I'm sure I can find a better nickname, but just for the whole sake of it, I would go with Trash, because trash talking would be my one true skill.
All right, the thesaurus has come through for me in flying colors. I would choose the name Surge. Just in the case of, my overall experience with the esports program has been so great in being able to learn about all these different games and becoming, really kind of finding new games that are my favorites. If 3 years ago you told me I was going to be able to make Legend in Hearthstone or something like that, I would have thought you're crazy. I would have said, what is this new game that you want me to get the top rank in? But so Surge more in the theme of just kind of the overall growth, surging forward with new knowledge to really gain a greater appreciation from what's going on. So there you go. You see Michael Trash Fisher and Jacob Surge Palmer. So I like it.
Right, now speaking of surging, Mississippi has done a great job to surge out to an early advantage. We see the double second floor bomb sites being chosen by Boise State, and right now that has been all Mississippi. Danny, though, going to get a great pick to at least bring the Broncos back to a 2-4. Looks like Juco barely dodging bullets, potentially from his own teammate there. I did see Danny was quite close, but unfortunately for Boise, they're going to have their work cut out for them. Just 2 members left alive. I will say, though, you look at the health bars, Chris P and Gavino are very low. That could allow Danny and Juco to maybe win a gunfight and still be able to be alive.
One thing I really do appreciate about this game, just viewing it right now, is even though, we do have kind of a little bit more of a realistic, it's certainly more realistic than Overwatch in terms of realism, in terms of an FPS game, but even with this game, I just gotta say, I love having a full color spectrum to look at, all right? And anyone who is about my age, who grew up during the 2000s, we had such great advancements in technology and such great leaps in graphical quality that were showed off, like all great leaps in graphical quality should be showed off, by rendering 58 different shades of brown. So knowing that we have a little bit more color to look forward to in just a lot of these different games, that we've kind of come to a more balanced thing, then everything has to be gritty and gray and brown. It really does make games like this a lot more fun to watch. So I do appreciate the design team for Rainbow Six, definitely putting a little bit more of the rainbow into it. So shout out to them.
Well, unfortunately for Boise State, I don't think there was much rainbows to be seen there. They almost rallied. At one point, I think it was a 2v3 and then a 1v2, but unfortunately the numbers advantage held strong for Mississippi, so they were able to tie it up. But Boise State doing a not a bad job. Looks like once again they're going to choose double second floor bomb sites here. Maybe see if they could be a little bit more stout there, because they lost 2 or 3 members very, very early into the attacking phase.
Well, I do want to say, again, another just kind of preemptive apology to anyone who might be watching for me kind of talking over the action there. Although this is just kind of my role. I'm just here to provide more kind of color, just color commentary here. Just getting my general first impressions of this game, which are very positive. I love what we're seeing here in this game, because it does bring such a different atmosphere to what we're used to seeing in a lot of the other esports games that we play. So definitely more of this in the future. I'd love to see more Rainbow Six.
Yeah, Rainbow Six, quite a fun little game there. I definitely am hoping, that I am able to start playing around with it. But like I said, I got to work on my ability to click heads, Jim Mountain, because right now I'm not sure I would get very far if I aim for the body and everyone else aims for the head.
It's such a simple phrase, but, saying aim for the head is like saying play cards in Hearthstone. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's technically true, but there's so much more that goes on that, You know, anyone can aim for the head, but can anyone actually click on the head? That's the main thing. You can see they're definitely trying just a game of pixels, like you were saying. That was such a split-second opportunity right there to try to get the pick there. This didn't come through.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Doesn't look like anybody's taking much damage. Boise State doing a much better job this time. Gavino, though, going to actually get the first elimination onto Danny, and they will be able to find the bomb as well. So, unfortunately, Boise State this time going to have to do without Danny, who did excellent job last game, almost bringing the Broncos back from being down early. So it's going to be very, very key here.
Wait, what was that sound, Fish? Do you know what that sound was? I heard like a big drum, and the screen shook a little bit.
You know, I would have to assume that would be some sort of grenade there, Gem Mountain. So I would think, especially the
well, for those
from
of
grenades.
Well, for those of you who don't know, you know, broadcasting in Boise, about a week or two ago, we had like a 6.5 earthquake strike next to us. So, just when I see the screen start to shaking, I have to question my sanity a little bit here, because on edge, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely understand, Jim, and I would have to say Boise State doing a great job not playing on edge. They have the slight advantage, though JUCO has been dropped very, very low. But other than that, there are only 2 members left alive for Mississippi. So I think Boise State has to feel very confident. Now they do know where both the bombs are, but with just a minute left, they have to get aggressive very, very soon. And it does look like Flonson is on the 2nd floor. And it looks like Chris P, though, is on the 1st floor, but he is using that drone. Looks like somebody from Boise State was trying to take that drone out. Not quite sure if he's able to get there. Flonson actually on the other side of the wall is a member of Boise State. You can see Ultraset holding that. Unfortunately, Flonson's going to walk right into that. Great job there by Boise State to make it a 3-on-1.
Now, what's so really stands out to me is how even this match has been. Even in looking at the kill statistics, and there's one for Mississippi right there, able to take out JUCO, followed by Jared, but Boise State is going to pull it out at the very end with Ultraset being able to take out Crispy, who almost went on a tear there, so that's a great play from Boise State. But as I was saying, if we were to look at these overall, kill stats here, what just strikes me so far is how even everything looks to be. Because last time I saw it, it was 4 or 5, 4, 4, 5, maybe a 7 or an 8 here or there, but really even match so far, a real nail biter.
Yeah, and this is just the great thing about this game. Everything is so close, and even if we did see one round where Boise State had a flawless victory there, it's just, it doesn't carry over. That's the one nice thing as well. Sometimes in League of Legends, if your team gets ace, the other team's going to have more items. In Overwatch, if you get a team kill on the other team, you're going to have more ultimates. You're going to have, more pushing power. You might even have maybe a couple ticks on the objective. But in this game, doesn't matter what happened last round besides who won or lost. Everything's on a full reset. So that is the one nice thing. It's a lot harder to tilt because, oh, you lost a round? All right, let's go back. Let's run it back again, as opposed to, all right, we lost that fight. Now the team has 6 ults available and we have nothing.
You can see they're going to choose the bomb locations on the bottom floor here. So we've seen these locations before here. You can see Ultraset is going to be on Cade right now. Can apparently electrify fortifications, and I think we've already seen that garage door being electrified multiple times this match.
Yeah, it does look like the chat has helped me out there a little bit, deciding that Michael Tilt Fisher better than Michael Trash Fisher. Like I said, I knew trash wasn't the right word, but unlike Gem Mountain, I do not have a thesaurus anywhere in my general vicinity. I think the closest thesaurus might be the Boise State Library. So I just want the first word that came to my mind.
Quite frankly, I would vote for Michael Deadeye Fisher, but that's just me.
Jim, man, I will say, I am very glad we did not see any crazy Deadeyes today. But I will say the closest thing to a Deadeye is getting a bunch of headshots. So we've seen a ton of those in this match. As you see, a headshot actually going to go on to Fox, immediately eliminated.
But here,
so
in this game, you can actually move while getting a headshot. So that already places it above Deadeye.
Yeah, and you have to be a deadeye because if you miss, and we've seen it time and time again, one guy's shooting at the body, one guy's shooting at the head, it's going to change. And a great job by Boise State. Mississippi tried to sneak in on the bomb. Danny gonna get one of those headshots we've been talking about, and then a second follow-up onto Thunder. Just doing a great job, and that's the one thing, you know, you shoot, try to shoot through the floor to find out where the enemy is. Guess what? That's gonna give your position away, and it's just the situational and positional awareness of every player in this game has to be on an all-time high. I do not know how they play so many rounds without just being mentally fatigued. I could not imagine every single round, all right, where'd that footstep come from? Where'd that gunshot come from for round after round? That would just be so taxing.
I mean, remember, just the revelation for me of finding out you can look through bullet holes was enough to completely mentally fatigue me. So I'm already in awe of these players.
Yeah, unfortunately for Boise State, they are going to lose Ultras. That did look like a member of Mississippi was potentially sneaking down to the angle Sherb was trying to hold. He is going to reposition here. We do see a member of Mississippi realizing that the garage is all electrocuted, so he's going to have to find potentially another way as partially trying to hold that angle, not knowing that member of Boise State has actually repositioned himself. So Boise State doing a great job maybe avoiding some of those common sight lines there. Juco trying to see if he can find anyone. Parson, though, unfortunately going to get a huge pick on to Danny Sherb, though. He's going to follow that up with his own elimination, and that's what I'm talking about there, Jim. Out in the headshot making the difference. Sherb at half-life, but he gets that one headshot, and that's going to change everything. Now, the garage door has been sieged through. Looks like the diffuser might be going down here on the side of Mississippi. Boise State, though, finds that out and able to get him. One member less alive. It's Crispy. We saw what he could do. It is a 1v1. Crispy is a bit lower, though, so Juco can maybe be a little more aggressive here, maybe try and spray through the walls because he only needs a couple more bullets onto the member of Mississippi where he is at full life. Mississippi finding the other bomb, time ticking down. You know they have to plant the diffuser, so I'm guessing Juco actually a great job there, baiting him out. And what a headshot there to send Boise State home victorious in that round.
Yeah, that was just satisfying to watch. And definitely for Boise State is going to put them into the lead, and I do believe that gets them to 6 right now, so this is match point.
Yes, this is match point for Boise State. Looks like they're going to choose a bomb strat that maybe hasn't worked, at least not for Mississippi, with the one in the basement and one on the first floor. So be curious to see how they want to divide their members up. And we've seen a couple times where Mississippi's maybe had too many members down on the basement. Boise State was able to get onto the first floor. So Boise State has to be very, very selective on where they want to put their members in. Make sure also, as we saw, put some holes in the wall, in the floor, so you can shoot up from the basement right onto that first floor bomb site.
It will be interesting to see what Boise State pulls out here, especially, like you said, Fish, I do have to give it to you. That one play of Mississippi, you know, getting rid of the floor there to try to peek through, but that giving away their position. That was some great play by Boise State right there. Just some great reaction time, first and foremost, and that really kind of is one of the standout mechanics to this game of me is the ability to destroy floors, destroy walls, and give yourself entirely new sidelines, but also potentially expose yourself to the other team. You know, every time you break through a wall or a floor, there could be a member of the other team there just waiting for you.
Yeah, I definitely am a huge fan of the destroyable environments that we have seen in some FPS games. I definitely think it adds this flavor of realism to the game. Just being able to say, you know what, that guy's camping in a corner. Some games you just kind of have to keep running at him and hope you eventually find your shot. But in games like this, you say, hey, well, you know what, you're camping in a corner. Let me just open up that wall with a couple of my shots. All right, now I can see your head, and you're just absolutely gone. So I really think it's a very fun aspect. I think it's one of the things that makes Rainbow Siege a little bit more unique in this sort of market of search and destroy games.
See right here, they're going to try to take down the garage door, get cracking on that. There it goes. That's a nice big boom. They found themselves into the basement. I know, this is, see, Doc just said over our chat, for those of you who can't hear it, I said earlier that this looks a little bit more like a board game. Doc just said it looks a bit like Clue, which I do have to agree right there. It is, it's so interesting, and it gives away the real tactical element there. See one of the members of Mississippi also up on the wall there, up near the top.
It's sure
Mississippi
in
has
the
found
library
Bomb B
with
right
the
now.
SMG.
Yeah, I was about to say something like that, Doc, but you just took it away from me. So
I
I
apologize.
was really pleased that I was able to get. I was almost able to get that reference there, and now I haven't been able to find it. So yeah. So it's partially with something in the something. That's the best I can do now that my train of thought has been derailed.
It's partially with the headshot. Fox going to answer with his own. And a great job there by Thunder to pick up a double kill. Looks like that basement floor bomb site might be all open. Juco, though, great job there. Going to be able to get a pick on that member. He's already very, very low. But for Boise State, they almost have to now siege their own bomb site because both members of, all three members, excuse me, of Mississippi are on the ground and that bomb that has been planted. So Boise State now almost taking that attacking role, trying to find out and to get down there. Flaunson gonna get an elimination onto Juco, so it is going to be all up to Ultraset here. And with the diffuser ticking down, time is of the essence. He is going to have to make a very crazy play at this point. Now, Thunder is very low, so that can only take one bullet, but Crispy and Flaunson are gonna need just perfect aim. And with 14 seconds left on the diffuser, he has to be very quick. Unfortunately, I think it was one of those bullet hole sight lines we saw there from Flaunson. He's gonna get that elimination. It stopped Boise State from finishing this out just yet.
Alright, I gotta point out in Twitch chat, I've probably seen, I would award this comment of the year, but it says, we need to have a game where all players have to stay at least 6 feet from each other and take all precautions in order to avoid spreading a disease. I gotta say, and then it says, oh wait, never mind, that's real life. So, comment of the year, I gotta say, I laughed at that. I legitimately chuckled once I saw that.
I will say I might know that game. That might have been in my last ranked game of League of Legends because, you know, the team really did seem to like to enforce that social distancing policy. I'm not sure I ever saw my teammates the entire game. So maybe he was in my last league game, and that's where he's getting that inspiration from. They did a great job. No disease was being passed around in that league game. We did not win, but we did a great job of social distancing, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's great. That's... At least be responsible, you know what I mean? You didn't win, but you were responsible.
Yeah, we didn't win, but we were responsible. But yeah, it's going to be, I'm excited here. Boise State's still on match point. If they lose this one, it will flip the script a little bit because they do have to win by 2. So they win here, they will win the match 7-5, but if they lose, it would become first team to 8, and then so on and so on, and we could play, I'm assuming, all the way until first team to 100 if we had that much time, but I'm hoping someone would be able to put together a nice 2-game win streak at some point. But yeah, this is going to be huge for Boise State because this changes the whole game. One more round in your other, or you're playing at least 2 more rounds. So I think Boise State going to have to be very, very careful here. And it looks like, once again, we're looking at that basement and first floor bomb sites here.
So, just a final note on that comment of the social distancing. That's the real life game we have to play. It reminds me of like one of the favorite images I've seen, just kind of a joke. It's a poster for a fictional video game called Outside, and it's marketed as a new MMORPG that features no monthly fee, a massive world to explore, incredible NPC AI, over 56,400 character archetypes, fully PvP, and the highest resolution graphics possible. So, sign me up.
I will have to say, I do question the no monthly fees there, but maybe that's just, you know, we're living in different worlds, Jim Mountain.
No, that's DLC. Remember, DLC. That's DLC. To get the Express experience, you got to shell out a little. So it's technically free to. It's technically free to play, but we all know that it's never really free to play.
That is true. Well, for Boise State right now, it is not a free-to-play victory. Actually going to be, they wish they could pay for DLC to get a revive onto Sherp because he is the first member taken down here. They're going to put a decent amount of damage onto Gavino. He will live, though, only losing about a quarter of his life. But Boise State has their work cut out for them here on match point if they are able to hold off Mississippi. Looks like right now Juco doing a great job holding a couple of those sight lines there. There is a member of Mississippi. It looks like below him and a little bit to his left. Of course, he does not know that. Thunder going to get another elimination as well. So Boise right now up again. Actually, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Chris B actually went down. Excuse me. So it is up, actually all tied up.
all tied up. You can see the health bars full for everyone except Gavinino right now. You can see Flonsum and Thunder are slowly making their way over to where Fox and Danny are in wait toward where the bomb is. Both teams just peering around here. And unfortunately for Boise State, partially is going to be eliminating JUCO, putting them at an even greater disadvantage thus far.
Yeah, Boise State now down another member, but they are defending, so they do have that innate advantage there. They are going to actually get the diffuser for Mississippi there in Gavino, so it is going to even things all up at 3. His side does look like the health bars might slightly favor the side of Mississippi, and Thunder will get a headshot to immediately once again make it a 2v3, and unfortunately for Boise State, they are full in on defending this bomb right now. Looks like Mississippi might want to go in on that. Partially going to get another elimination. Danny, the last one left alive, able to get one. Diffuser being planted. He is able to get another, but unfortunately he can't quite clutch it. Thought he was going to be able to win it for Boise State, but it is going to be partially getting the game-winning kill there.
Yeah, Boise State was going on a little bit of a tear there, and now we move on to round 13. Overtime. So, Fish, can you bring us up to date on overtime as someone who is still kind of learning the mechanics here? Is it just first one to win here wins, or is it more kind of like a deuce situation in tennis where like you have to win 2 in a row to win?
You have to win 2 in a row, Jim Mountain. You have to win
That's
by
what
2,
I thought.
So Boise State would have to win the next 2 rounds, win this 8-6 overall. So yeah, we are looking for a win by 2, so we could be going infinitely long, I guess you could say, depending on how long the teams go back and forth. So yeah, really the first team to put together a 2-round win streak is going to be your winners here.
Alrighty, hopefully they can pull this out. 10 seconds left. We can see JUCO is on Echo right now, who I'm being told right now can place a trap that will temporarily disorient all enemies that come near it. So that sounds like a really good ability right now, being able to disorient. For me, all I have to do is watch this game and I'm disoriented. So I have that ability, but it's free of charge.
Yeah, and it's on yourself, unfortunately. Not sure that would be
yeah.
what you're
It's
looking for.
unfortunately all the abilities harm me. So I don't know why anyone would pick a character like me, a character that all your abilities actually end up hurting you. That is really depressing. Just hearing that. Once I said that, I realized how depressing that actually is.
Well, for Boise State, maybe they can help cure that sadness you have there, Gem Mountain, by putting together a nice 2-match win streak here. And it does look like, I will say, having both the bombs on the basement there, we have seen a lot of times the team being able to have the bombs on the same side has had that advantage. They don't get too spread out, and it makes it a lot harder for the other team to sort of siege onto that one objective.
No eliminations thus far, all teams at full health. See Fox is at the window here, joined by Sherb. A little bit of peppering of bullets coming through here.
And right now able to survive with that shield. Looks like the first elimination is going to come out. It is going to be Thunder onto Fox here. So Boise State now going to have to hold on without one of their members. Doesn't look like for now, though, that Mississippi knows that the bombs, where they are exactly, like I said earlier, I do think the positioning of the defending team can sort of give away where the bombs are. You wouldn't be heavily fortifying the basement if both the bombs are on the second floor. So even though Mississippi hasn't discovered them, they can be relatively sure they are not up on the second floor, or really even the first floor. So now it is just a matter of trying to find them. They're trying to find a way here to get into this electrified garage. Might be able to blow that up there. We'll see. Yes, they will. They will be able to open up that garage. Going to make it a lot harder for Boise now as they have found Bomb A. So Boise can open up some of those walls there to be able to have some good sight lines on both of them.
And Mississippi has now found both bombs, and with Boise State dropping to 3, I would say even I can point out that this doesn't look like a fortuitous situation for them.
No, I definitely think for Boise State it is not in their favor, but I will say these games do always favor the defending side. It is almost like having an extra person because there is that time that Mississippi's competing against. Right now, though, there's only 2 members of Boise State that are left alive to go against a full squad for Mississippi, so it is going to be very, very tough. You can see Juco now partially has been taken down. He will go down. Flonson, though, going to get an elimination on to Juco, and Mississippi is going to win round 13, and they're going to put themselves onto match point. Boise State going to have to come up with a very clutch defensive effort.
Yeah, so if Boise State wins this next one, it goes kind of back to the same Deuce situation where now you have to get 2 wins in a row again.
Yes, it will go. Mississippi there has to get to 8, or if Boise State can win, it would be first 1 to 9. And the crazy thing here is we have hit the point where we are going to swap back. I believe every 7 rounds it flips which side you're on. So even though Mississippi was having a lot of luck attacking, they're now going to have to flip, and it's going to be Boise State who's on the attacking side.
We've seen Boise State is choosing Buck, which I find a very interesting operator, and just reading up about him, having quite the shotgun on him, probably one of the more devastating of the shotguns available in the game, I'm being told. This skeleton key can really do a lot of damage, pack a lot of punch.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this map played before by Boise State. If you want to check that out, of course, throw in ! free sub in the chat. See if you can use a Twitch Prime subscription to watch all of our past podcasts, including our first Rainbow Six Siege, or at least the first one I did. Not sure if we had one before that, but Buck was key in using that skeleton key, as you mentioned, Jim Mountain, to sort of just absolutely obliterate that garage door that we've seen teams fortify there. So he is a great pick on this map to get through that pesky little garage door. Why use a garage door opener when you can just blow the thing right off its hinges?
I'm sorry, I got tickled. That's the true. Just broadcasting from Idaho that made me laugh. Why use the garage door opener when you can just blast through it? That's true Idaho logic. I love it.
Well, it does look like Boise has been able to find the basement bomb. We've seen a lot of teams picking this match, at least, the basement and first floor bomb, something that, you know, that maybe just shows why I'm a noob at this game. I would have thought putting the bombs on the same floor would have made it a lot easier to defend, so we'll have to see if Mississippi is able to hold here. Boise State, knowing, of course, one of them is on the basement, should be able to piece together, since I think there are static bomb sites, that the other one isn't probably on the first or the second floor, but you could put all of your members attacking that first one there, and it is going to be, or that basement one, and that's going to be key, because Boise State is up against match point. The Broncos need to win here to continue this series. Looks like they're going to siege that garage door, going to blow it right off the hinges. There you are as the screen shakes, Jim Mountain, and it looks like the Broncos are into the basement.
They're into the basement, but that has to give their position also away to Mississippi, so it really is kind of bad judgment. It looks like Flonson just dropped by. Unfortunately, we are looking at another Mississippi player partially there, so if that was a Boise State player, that would have been a terrifying sight indeed to see. Just seeing someone drop down that staircase and get you right in the head.
Yeah, luckily that was a Mississippi player. Seeing another Mississippi player does look like Boise has maybe fully committed to this basement siege here, trying to use those drones to get any sort of information that they can. Does look like Flonson, though, might have been able to scout out a couple members of the Broncos. Unfortunately, the first one going to go down there. Sherb, though, will avenge his fallen teammate, getting an elimination of his own onto Flonson, making it a 4v4. Juke, though, going to take out partially, giving the Broncos the edge here. And now time starting to tick down, so they are going to have to try and find this bomb site. Get to it very quickly. Danny there using IQ's ability that we've talked about, trying to see if there's any electronic devices on the side of Mississippi, potentially holding up around that bomb. Boise State, unfortunately, going to lose a member. What a great job by Crispy. That's what I'm talking about, Jim Mountain. Just see how fast you can get eliminated in this with a headshot. Just
that's the reflex time. That is the reflex time. Right as my eyes registered that, already Crispy had pulled the trigger. So that definitely is that's training right there. And it looks like Sherb, though, is going to be able to get a double kill off of that grenade. That is insane right there. It's just going to come right in. Juco again, and all of a sudden it is 3v1, but Crispy is going to come fighting back, getting his own, taking out Juco there. So that grenade, my goodness, how Boise State throwing this back to a deuce.
Yeah, great job by Boise there. Unfortunately, Crispy, all the walls are opened up and destroyed, so they're not able to hold it. Looks like actually, as we said, we're learning on the fly. Looks like maybe when we hit a certain point, the teams just alternate back and forth, or maybe when you're on match point, you have to go and win on the other side.
Okay.
Okay, so match point is every other here. It still says match point, so maybe you can't go infinitely long here, Jim. Now, this might be a first to 8 wins it kind of thing, because it still said match point even though we are tied at 7.
Yeah. We do see some support from Broncos down there, some of the Twitch chats and the cowbells coming through, so always appreciating that, especially for a newer team like the Rainbow Six team, finally getting some of that Twitch chat love, so it's always great that we can have that support no matter what game we're playing.
Yeah, it is. I think Twitch chat here does a great job supporting all of their Bronco teams, so it is going to be exciting here. And this is a winner-take-all match, so I'm definitely excited to see how this is going to go. Boise State on the defense here. Looks like they picked double second-floor bomb site, something they haven't picked for a while, so I'll be curious to see how Boise State does in this.
Alrighty, you see Boise State bringing up the barricades, getting ready. You can see Crispy down there toward the bottom floor. Everyone just getting set up before the real action starts.
Yeah, Boise State just starting to fortify there, opening some of those sightline holes. You can see Juco by the B-bomb, opening up some holes in that fortified window just so Boise State will have the advantage there on those sightlines. Should someone try and rappel off the roof?
Yeah, just someone casually rappel off the roof. Of course, everyday experience for all of us here. I mean, I talk about drones being a thing, and all of a sudden one appears outside my apartment. So, judging off of what the trends have been today, I have the right to be a little bit concerned.
Yeah, you should always make sure there's no one rappelling off your roof, Jim Milton. That would be just a tad scary there if that were to happen. So right now, Boise State unfortunately can't find any picks. Looks like Thunder has taken just a little bit of damage. Not quite sure how that happened. Didn't know if any member of Boise State maybe saw him for a brief second or what, but we'll have to see if that will manage. Partially actually taken a little bit low as well, as we talked about. He actually rappelling down in. Boise State going to get the first elimination. Sherp onto Gavino. Both bombs, though, have been found out by Mississippi, so they will know exactly what they want to plan. And this gets me every time. Players trying to shoot upside down, just absolutely wild.
There we go on to Ultra Set is going to blow the hole in the floor here. Drop down to this server room. Thunder is going to be taken out by Juco. That puts them at a great advantage thus far. Might be what they need to finally pull out the victory in this match. See an overhead view here. You can see partially coming into the other room here. Up on the top, trying to find that bomb, which is going to be up here in the center room. In this Technicolor room, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like a disco ball going off there. I think partially might have been using one of his drones. They know where the bombs are. He's going to find where the players are. And just like that, Danny's going to get taken out. But unfortunately, Crispy did not know Sherb was waiting there as well. So Boise State going to put 2 members left alive. And the diffuser. Sherb's going to pick up his 3rd kill. And that's the hard part there with the diffuser gone. Partially has to get to that diffuser. And Boise State knows that he is going to be eliminated. So the Broncos now look like they are going to put themselves, I believe, on match point now.
Or I'm seeing the GGs come out.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that was the match point. Okay.
GGs. Yeah, hard-fought victory. There you go. Boise State winning this impromptu Rainbow Six Siege match, putting a great end to the day. You can see MVP is going to be credited to Danny, Boise State, but we've got our own replays that we're going to be sharing in terms of top plays of the game that you can take a look at. So, Fish, it was great joining you for this impromptu victory. I hope for everyone watching that this wasn't too much of a travesty with my commentary here, but it was fun to learn some new things, and fun to see Boise State win no matter what game it is. So that's always fun. So if let's just talk just a little bit about the overall theme of just being at a distance and kind of the difference that has been playing, because we keep seeing images of that. It's just seeing. Thank you, Denver, for your support. They're simply insufferable. I don't know where I would be without you. So thank you so much, giving that support to everyone here at Boise State. It's only someone like Denver. I just can say only someone like Denver can be pushing the Boise State emotes and I support Boise State, and then call one of the staff members of Boise State insufferable. So it's that kind of unique support that is why we love him. So thank you very much. But yeah, a view of this arena right here, which we haven't been in for what feels like a month. So already, at least for me, it certainly has been a different experience, Fish.
Yeah, it definitely has been a different experience. Just getting everything set up, making sure you actually have a good working microphone. It's all really been absolutely crazy, but I just have to say a shout out to the production staff here for Boise State, finding a way to get this together, finding a way to connect us here where we can see each other, we can see what's going on the stream, we can see the chat. So, it's really been incredible. The advancements and the crazy new overlays we've seen that have come out from this. When you have a lot of time in isolation, when you're bored, crazy things can happen. And it's just a shout out to our production crew, which of course has to be skeleton. They don't have all their fancy computers, and they have done a fantastic job making us sound and look very good.
Yeah, definitely. They have come through in flying colors, just giving all these great new overlays and things like that. So definitely a shout out to them as well. Still in these trying times and just these times where, I don't think you or I will ever look as good as we will look in that arena with all the lights going on sitting at that desk. But production has been there to still give that professionalism air and really set the Boise State stream apart in terms of its overall presentation. So a big shout out to our skeleton crew right now, who is doing a lot of great work. So anyway, we are going to be going to the top players of the game and the top 5. We will give those to you on the way out. Again, those are brought to you by our sponsors at Idaho Central Credit Union and Idaho Army National Guard, bringing you both the top player of the game and top 5 plays of the game, respectively. That is going to do it for us today, though. This has been Jim Mountain Fish. It's been great to join, for you to join right now. My goodness, maybe it is time to sign out because the words just gave me. It's been great to have you join us, Fish. And I hope all of you in Twitch chat joining us that you've enjoyed the show as well. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching, and we will see you later. Stay safe.
No, and that's where it plays in with the headshot one-shots there. Chris just got one quick shot, and just like that, he's also going to be eliminated. So Dane's not always been my friend. I know every game has a headshot multiplier. Nothing as crazy as this game, but sometimes, the torso is bigger. It's just easy to aim for. So the fact that anything in the head's a one-shot definitely has worried me, Jim Mountain, in the terms of how good I can get at this game.
Speaking of,
Yeah,
maybe that wasn't. I think that was the can actually move while getting a headshot. So that already places it above Deadeye.
Yeah, and you have to be a Deadeye because if you miss, and we've seen it time and time again, one guy's shooting at the body, one guy's shooting at the head, it's going to change. And a great job by Boise State. Mississippi tried to sneak in on the bomb. Danny gonna get one of those headshots who's been absolutely and just insanely quick. You have to be permanently aware of your surroundings. As Sherm is gonna get one. There's just one member left for the Rebels at Boise State, going to be able to take him out. Looked like he missed just a couple of shots there, and that was different. But there was a huge number count advantage for Boise State. So even if Danny does go down,
it's going to be credited with that. And see, another elimination not going to make things any easier for Boise State. Ultra Set was the next one. And I guess when it rains, it pours, because Flaunson is going to get himself a triple.
Yeah, Ponce doing a great job of realizing Boise State was coming down through the garage area as Danny's in.
Sure, and Jacob Surge Palmer, so I like it.
Right now, speaking of surging, Mississippi has done a great job to surge out to an early advantage. We see the double second floor bomb sites being chosen by Boise State, and right now that has been all Mississippi. Danny, though, going to get a great pick to at least bring the Broncos back to a
That were shown off like all great policing ground quality should be shown off by rendering 58 different shades of brown. So, knowing that we have a little bit more
back. Partially trying to hold that angle, not knowing that member Boise State has actually repositioned themselves. So Boise State doing a great job, maybe avoiding some of those common sight lines there. Juco trying to see if he can find anyone. Partially, though, unfortunately, going to get a huge pick on to Danny Sherb, though. He's going to follow that up with his own elimination, and that's what I'm talking about there, Jim, out in the headshot making the difference.
What I find to be quite interesting here is, like you said, Boise State does kind of not realizing that the bomb is on the other side of the wall there. And I do have a question in terms of bomb placement. Since this is around, you can see here that shield was just going to be right up.
Couple more bullets onto the member of Mississippi where he is at full life. Mississippi finding the other bomb, time ticking down. You know they have to plant the diffuser, so I'm guessing Juco actually a great job there, baiting him out. And what a headshot there to send Boise State home victorious in that round.
Yeah, that was just satisfying to watch. Next time, right as my eyes registered that, yeah, already Crispy had pulled the trigger. So that definitely is that's training right there. And it looks like Sherb though is going to be able to get a double kill off of that grenade. That is insane right there. It's just going to come right in. Juco again, and all of a can actually move while getting a headshot. So that already places it above Deadeye.
Yeah, and you have to be a Deadeye because if you miss, and we've seen it time and time again, one guy's shooting at the body, one guy's shooting at the head, it's going to change. And a great job by Boise State. Mississippi tried to sneak in on the bomb. Danny gonna get one of those headshots.